Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We will now start the February 4th Lane Community College Board of Education meeting. It is now called to order. Nicole, will you please call the roll?
Kevin Altucker.
Here.
Austin Fulnegi.
Here.
Amelia Hampton.
Here.
Jesse Maldonado.
Here.
Steve Mattal.
Here.
Zach Mulholland.
Here.
Jerry Rust.
Here.
And Julie Wiesman.
Here.
Excellent. We'll now move on to the land acknowledgement. The land acknowledgement speaker will be Ian Coronado. Ian, will you go ahead?
I'd like to start our meeting with the acknowledgement that the land we are on is the traditional homelands of the Kalapuya people. The Kalapuya were stewards of this very land for over 14,000 years before their traditional way of life was forever disrupted. We start our meeting with humility and reverence for the original inhabitants, the Kalapuya.
Thank you so much. We will now move on to the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the February 4th board meeting agenda?
I so move.
Moved by Jerry.
I'll second.
Excellent. We got 2 seconds, so I'll give that to Kevin for being first there. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions? That was unanimous. We'll now move on to Equity Lens. And I just want to, I say this every time because I want this to be a living document for our community and for this board. And I think the question number 3 is a really critical one, especially as we go into this new year, into the new time period that we're in. How are we intentionally involving stakeholders who are also members of the community affected by policies, programs, practices, or decisions in this decision-making process? All right, we have responses. Any responses to, we're moving on to information requests. Are there any responses, questions, or comments to information requests?
I'd just like to say that, yes, that we do have a trustee who just raised her hand. There were a number of questions that we received, and we did respond to them. So please take a look at that. And if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
Excellent. Julie, you have a question or comment in regards to the information response?
I just wanted to kind of like hold space. A lot of my questions were geared toward the letter, so I just want to be able to bring that back up when we get to the discussion item 5A, I believe it is.
Yep, 100%. Thank you for noting that. Any questions in regards to the letter? Or, sorry, information, my apologies. Information requests or comments? All right, seeing none. We'll now move on to public comments. First off, thank you all for coming. For those who don't know, we start with students first with our public comments. It's a great opportunity for us to hear from students as well as the general public. Overall, so do note that we will not respond directly to public comment. We will be taking those issues to the president and having for further conversations. I also want to kind of go off track what I usually say in this time period, in that I want to take more of a trauma-informed approach with our public comment time period here. The community's hurting. There's a lot of individuals that are experiencing trauma within our community, our neighbors and everyone. And so loud noises or disruption and things of that nature can be triggering for a lot of people. I ask you, it's obviously a really emotional time, and there's a lot of feelings in regards to all this. And with that, I just simply want to encourage people to have decorum in this process. It is really critical that we stay to the time limits that we have for public comment. It's very important that we continue to keep decorum and to allow for everyone an opportunity to speak. We are here to listen, we're here to learn and understand. And I know, again, we might want to applaud someone who is speaking. If you can reserve that to ASL applause, that would be greatly appreciated and be really critical and important for this process and this role. Julie, I see that you have your hand raised, but we do need to move on to the public comment time period here.
It's regarding that. I just wanted to know how many are on the list. Are we reducing time down to 2 minutes? Or
Absolutely. Yep, that was my next comment. Nona, thank you for asking that question. I believe we currently have 38. So we have 38 that are signed up. And per our board policies, since we have more than 20 individuals, the time allotted for each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. So with that, we will go ahead and get started. Nicole, we call the first person.
Thank you. Again, starting with students, our first up we have is Jennifer Haggerty, and following is Kai Fireside.
Oh, yeah, come right up here. Yes, oh, no worries, no worries.
I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go.
Oh, yeah, no worries, right here. And if you're able to talk into the mic, that will allow for not only the video to pick it up, but we have several board members that are online as
Is
well.
it okay to sit?
It's more than okay to say, absolutely.
So my name's Jennifer Haggerty. I'm a second-year student in the nursing program here at Lane. And I'm speaking on behalf of students and community members who are deeply vested in the future of Lane Community College today. I actually started a change.org petition that's been signed by over 518 community members and students. I would like to eventually present that to the board so that they can see the comments that have been left by our community members. And then on February 10th, students will be picketing out front of Building 1 in solidarity with our faculty as they prepare for mediation and let them know that we support them and back them 100%. I had a whole thing prepared that I was going to say, but a fellow student had prepared something else, and he didn't have the opportunity to sign up. So I'm going to go ahead and read what he has. His name is Max, and he'd like to begin his statement by acknowledging the incredible instruction and support from the LCC faculty that he'd received as his time here. Teachers deserve fair pay and access to benefits such as health savings accounts and class sizes that are comfortable for them as educators. They deserve cost of living adjustments and pay for hours spent on curriculum and class prep work. Over the past 4 terms, he's had the fortunate opportunity to learn from, converse with, and pick the brains of some of the smartest, most diligent, and genuinely caring people he's ever met. He says that they care so much about their students and the quality of education that the majority of bargaining issues for LCCEA is fighting for the directly led and related students' quality of life, including the increasing staffing for mental health, increased funding for students' basic needs such as food, housing, textbook costs, and safety concerns on campus. Many of these teachers take on class sizes of 24 to 35 students at a time, which is a tremendous amount. Teachers in the nursing program, we have 106 in our Monday morning class.
And I apologize, we're out of time. If you could finish your last thought there.
Sure. So if you would like more information in regards to the petition, please feel free to reach me afterwards or reach out. I have a sign here.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Feel free to leave written comments as well if you'd
Oh,
like.
perfect.
Next speaker.
Up next, we have Kai Fireside, following is Brittany Ross, and following is Ari Lingana.
Welcome, Kai.
Good evening, thank you. I know a lot of entities are having budget issues lately. This is a recurring problem. When we focus on how people respond to that, we don't focus on the problem itself. So I'm sorry if loud noises are triggering, but I'm triggered when teachers are underpaid. You need to figure out some other way to balance your budget. I suggest starting by looking at anyone who's got the word executive in their title. You're all elected officials. Not only can you be not elected again, but as I have learned with Springfield School Board, you can be recalled. It's not hard, and it doesn't cost me anything to start that process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Brittany Ross. Oh, I apologize, yeah. Ari Lingana, following is Brittany Ross, and then Elian Davis.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Brittany Ross, and I am a nursing student at Lake Community College and the president of the SNA Club here at LCC. I'm here today to speak about education, safety, and the real impact that large classes and reduced student support can have, especially on students who have already had to work harder. When class sizes increase without increasing faculty and student support, students receive less individualized feedback, less supervision in clinical settings, fewer opportunities to ask questions, less early identification when someone is struggling. And in nursing, struggling silently is dangerous. I want to share something personal. I was an IEP student growing up, and I had to work differently, sometimes harder, and often with additional support to succeed academically. That support followed me in college in different ways. I learned resilience, but I also learned that critical educators who have noticed when a student is struggling. Without that support, I would have easily fallen through the cracks, and I know I'm not alone. Many students come to community college carrying invincible battles, learning differences, mental health challenges, financial stress, first-generation college pressure, trauma, caregiving responsibilities. Community colleges serve students who do not always fit a traditional mold. In large classes, it becomes easier for those students to disappear. When faculty are stretched thin, they may not have time to. Notice subtle signs a student is overwhelmed, provide extra clarification, offer mentorship that builds confidence. For students like me and students who have had their own battles, appropriate class size and access to faculty support is not about comfort, it is about access. It's about equity and retention. When support shrinks and class sizes grow, the strongest voices will still rise, be quieter, students will risk being lost. We are taught in nursing that when we identify a safety risk, we must speak up. Larger class sizes without proportional support create academic clinical risk, and risk in education translates to risk in the workforce readiness. Community colleges are meant for open doors. Yeah. I stand here today not just as a nursing student, but as someone who knows firsthand how powerful it is when educators have the capacity to see you. Please protect the conditions that allow students to be seen, and thank you for my time today.
Thank you.
And considering my perspective.
Thank you so much.
Next, we have Ari Lingana. Following is Elian Davis. Following is Elliot Smith.
While the next speaker comes up, 213, can you hear me okay? If you could just raise your hands just to make sure you can hear us okay. Great, thank you everyone. By the way, if a speaker is on their way over, if you could just make a cross with your hand, that'll indicate and let me know that they're on their way. Thank you everyone. Go ahead.
Good evening. I would like to give a statement in support of the union's proposals as a first-year nursing student. I have previously attended 3 colleges, and none addressed mental health, housing, and food crises like we do. So many of us are first generation, working, raising families, learning English, or financially struggling. We trust this campus to help us. Our current resources help retain enrollment and encourage on-time graduation. And frankly, staffing them makes the college appear sympathetic to the barriers that we overcome every day in order to contribute to this very campus. I've also taken several classes that offered open educational resources. The authors of these free texts believe that no one should miss the chance to learn due to costs, and I have to agree. If the college marketed OERS classes effectively, we would show up, participate, and leave superb feedback, encouraging further enrollment. I know this because I've seen this effect firsthand. This brings me to class sizes. I have been here 3 years, and smaller classes unanimously had better participation, attendance, and student performance. This equates to better statistics for the college, although I do not think that should be the primary motivation. With larger classes, professors become overworked, exhausted, and logistically cannot nurture each of us. This proposal hits especially hard in the nursing program, as our classes prepare us to literally save lives. We could not be successful without the personalized feedback we receive. If I may be honest, this program in college could not thrive without our beloved faculty, both part-time and full-time. They are some of the best in their fields and have a staggering level of experience dedicated to a depth that I could never honor with words alone. Through their effort, we have become the second best RN program in Oregon and the highest ranking community college for nursing. Our first-time pass rate for the NCLEX is 93%. The college is eager to promote these numbers when it's time to recruit new students, and none of it would be possible without our faculty. Yet they have worked the better part of a year with no contract and are paid less than faculty at other nursing schools. We are sending a message that Lane will achieve the most and celebrate them the least. It's insulting. If we want to continue to be among the best programs of the state, we must invest in them. They deserve better pay and job security, because if we lost them, the program would crumble. To every faculty member in this room, your work matters. The student body hears your voice. We know how dedicated you are, and we appreciate all that you do. I consider it a great honor to be able to use my voice today, even if it is just to give one thing back. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next, we have Elian Davis. Following is Elliot Smith, and following is Ayatli Catherine Kent.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Elian Davis, and I started at LCC when I was only 16. I'm now almost 20 and close to graduation. I'm deeply involved on campus, a part of the Neurodivergent Student Union and the Gender and Sexuality Alliance, and I have even spoken to the Board of Education before. I've been given many opportunities at LCC, and in return, I try my best to leave it better than it was when I got here. LCC faculty deserve a safe, stable work environment and fair pay. They don't deserve to deal with fear of retaliation, unreasonable workloads, and unreasonable class sizes. As the child of 2 public school teachers in Oregon, I know firsthand how the quality of education falls in those circumstances and how it directly affects the well-being of teachers. That doesn't change at a college level. Students support a fair contract because we care about faculty. They're our mentors, our guides, and our friends, and we want them to be treated well. They're the ones protecting and supporting us and creating our path forward. But even if there's some student out there who somehow doesn't care about a single person on this campus, they should care because it is our education that is on the line. I know that there has been a lot of promotion of students actually trying to view these meetings, and I know there's a watch party currently in the center building, so I want to address those students directly. To my fellow LCC students, I want you to think about how many courses have to be canceled, how big class sizes have to get, how many services you won't be able to access, and how much you will have to watch the people supporting you get no support before you decide that maybe the education you'll receive at LCC isn't worth the tuition, and that maybe you'll be better off somewhere else. And to the Board of Education, I want you to know that we are thinking about it.
Thank you.
Next is Elliot Smith. Following is Ayatli Catherine Cataregli Kent. And following is David Baker.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Elliot Smith, and I'm a student and grant recipient at LCC. I'm here this evening to urge the board and current academic administration to not only end the stripping of dance courses, but to restore the ones who have been stripped thus far. Before I tell you all of the reasons that taking away these dance courses are detrimental on students here at Lane, I want to first explain to you why dance is so important to me and many others. To put it plainly, dance saved my life. After years of struggling with drug-resistant depression, anxiety, and PTSD, I found myself running out of options. Finally, I entered myself into mental health treatment where I met with a dance therapist. It was the first time in my entire life that I felt free from the brain that had been tormenting me for years. Now, you may be thinking, what does this have to do with why we are here? But I tell you this for you to understand what this program can and does mean for students on this campus. A dance class is not just PE or cardio, but it is so much more. It's about learning our internal selves, finding a mind and body connection, building a community to learn and grow within. While determining what I was going to say this evening, I struggled to find the best word to describe what I felt when I dance. I finally landed on passion. Passion, that's what we all strive to find, right? Especially here on a college campus. Some find passion in the sciences, or maybe math, or even literature. But for myself and many of the students on this campus, we find passion through the arts, especially dance. There is a reason why so many parents enroll their children into dance courses as young tots, because it creates passion, determination, teamwork, and an understanding of your own body and how it moves through space. Cutting dance courses at LCC robs students of opportunity to learn. Yeah. So sorry.
It's okay.
It robs us of the opportunity to pursue our passions, and it sends a clear and direct message to students that our passions do not matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Ayatli Catherine Cataregli, and Kent. Following is David Baker and Sunny Wise.
Welcome.
My name is Ayatli Seothwin Cataregli Kent, and as MECHA President, I am here today to present LCC MECHA, which is a national student organization that seeks to promote Chicano unity and empowerment. Together as MECHA, we stand against limiting access to quality education by raising our tuition and overworking our faculty. We also stand in solidarity with other groups here at LCC that may be left behind in the decisions made for them. A disproportionate burden has been falling on BIPOC at Lane, and we ask for you to see us. For example, Latinx students make up the second highest percentage by ethnicity of the student body, yet there is only one career counselor that can speak Spanish to accommodate student needs. We are grateful for the faculty and staff that work tirelessly to support us in addition to their already full workloads. We ask that you keep our community in mind as well as other underrepresented groups and how much their support keeps us here and guides us to success. The faculty and staff at LCC are vital parts of our community and deserve recognition, not more added to their plates. Many students turn to community college because of the affordable tuition and access to resources that support us in our pursuit of higher education. We know that there are rising costs, but inflation has affected our students too. Many of us work jobs and still have to pay out of our pockets or student aid and loans to afford the current tuition. Why do we have to fight so hard to stay here when many of us have already fought so hard to get here? If you cannot pay us if you make us pay more, you cannot give us less. How are these cuts supposed to help us, the students, and the community that the college is founded on? As Mecha, Chicanos, and Latinos, our greatest form of resistance is graduation. We should be maximizing the opportunity for our students to become the community leaders that we all need, our future. Our current opportunities are because of strong staff and faculty. We count on the classes and clubs offered, giving us our community. It is necessary to limit tuition, faculty workload, and to provide accessible education as well as general support spaces that make us feel safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have David Baker. Following is Sunny Wise, and following is Cody Schiermeyer.
Welcome.
So hi, I'm Hadamika David Mikaneem. Hello, how are you? My name is David. I'm an enrolled member of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. I'm one of the co-chairs of NASA, as well as the president of the Table Tennis Club. I'm here today to address the $8 million in budget cuts the board is proposing over the next 3 years. Nobody left behind, not even the little guy, is the type of culture that every community college should want to have. Students in schools with strong team spirit and diverse student clubs and organizations are put in a better position to succeed. Nobody left behind, not even the little guy, would mean that making sure our half-time faculty members are being thought of and treated just as fairly as the full-timers, because we are only as strong as our weakest link. Nobody left behind, not even the little guy, means taking care of our longhouse. How many more years must the longhouse go without a fryer in our kitchen to feed our community, without a refrigerator to store our community's food, without someone properly coming over to fix the leaks in the building and really address the rat problem? I'm very concerned. Why do we think it's okay to overlook these issues and not invest money to fix these problems? Nobody left behind, not even the little guy, means that NASA, APISU, MECHA, BSU, SGA, NDSU, and all the clubs from COSO are coming together and realizing that we are stronger together. If you're a student in the overflow room or watching from home, I encourage you to speak up at the next meeting. With unity in the community, there's endless opportunity. We do together what we can't do alone. Together, we stand in solidarity with the faculty. Together, we can make sure that nobody left behind, not even the little guy, or that nobody's left behind, not even the little guy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sunny Wise. Following is Cody Schiermeyer. Following is Araceli Ramos.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Many of my fellow students know me, but I've not had a chance to meet many of the other community members present tonight. My name is Sunny Wise, and I've been a student and student worker at Lane Community College since the summer of 2025. I'm also a member of TRIO. I'm the vice president of the Gender and Sexuality Alliance, and I am someone who gets accommodations through CAR. To me, LCC is a vital lifeline to my career goals and a beautiful hub for community and connection. The hardworking and hopeful people I have met in my short time here have already made an incredible impact on me that I'll be reflecting on for the rest of my life. As I've interacted with college staff and students, it's become increasingly clear that the community, connection, and collaboration I've found has been more of an exception than a rule. Many of the faculty I've spoken to describe holding multiple jobs to make ends meet. Students have voiced concerns about the quality of their academics and the stability of Lane, and the LCC Educators Association has made clear and vocal their dissatisfaction. I would like to take a moment to recognize the stress, fear, and anger that this has caused and the division it's created in our college. Despite this ongoing conflict, I think there is one thing we can all agree on. We all want what's best for our college. Today, I would like to encourage the people present to keep this larger goal in mind. I know that it will take more than one voice and more than one moment to shift our culture from conflict to collaboration, but I believe our college is full of brilliant, resourceful, and capable individuals who deserve an opportunity to grow together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Cody Schiermeyer. Following is Araceli Ramos. And following is Allison Morris.
Welcome, Cody.
Hey, thank you for being here tonight. I just recently heard about this through a fellow club member of mine, David, at the ping pong club, and I don't really have anything prepared to say, but just wanted to kind of echo what everybody else says through my own experience of what community college means, actually. And I think like the word community is a really big part of it. And a lot of the teachers that I have the pleasure of being instructed by, I think are really concerned about this. And you can see the signs everywhere around campus, and it just makes me wonder like why there hasn't been a resolution yet, why it's gone so long without any sort of resolution, you know? Like the union wants to have like, you know, demands, and it just feels like there's some sort of holdup, and I just wonder like why that is, and like what administration is doing to like meet those, and like why there can't be any sort of resolution. It just seems like when I look at the cuts and like the breakdowns, the green boxes and the red squares, like what's really the holdup, you know? Sorry. It just seems like they're reasonable demands, and I don't see why they can't be met. And I just wonder, with all of you that sit here, like what your reasons or reasons for not supporting it are. I guess I would just ask like something that I thought of, that like we talk a lot about solidarity and like the campus coming together, but I wonder like how administration and the executive administrators, like what they're doing to like join into that solidarity, as far as like what cuts they look at their own department for, and like how that can be helped with the budget shortfalls that are kind of out of, you know, most people's hands. But thank you for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next, we have Araceli Ramos. Following is Allison Morris, and following is Mackenzie Leadham.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Araceli Ramos. I'm a second-term student here at LCC. I'm here to speak as a disabled, Indigenous, and Latina student that opposes the raise in tuition and the cuts to staff and faculty, causing a raised workload for those that remain. I'm a first-generation student estranged from family, and I chose LCC because of the community offered here and the amazing people here that support the success of people like me. Receiving financial aid, scholarships, and support from my tribe, I still take out student loans to be here. If there is a raise in tuition, I don't know what more I will need to do to finish my degree. A raise in tuition would impact many students and would not be successful for the college. The cost of living is already pulling people under, and this would further raise the bar of privilege that it takes to attend college. In just 2 terms here, I have been greatly impacted by the support I've received from all of our faculty and staff. I worry about what my grad plan will look like if these cuts are made to the classes, clubs, and communities that I have been lucky to find here. The TRIO program helped me find guidance coming back to college. I have sought community in clubs like MECHA and NASA, having been without people who share my culture since moving to Oregon. Even today, I receive support from CAR, and they help me understand what is available for me and set me up for success. With my background, I am statistically expected to fail, but all of these resources keep me above water. They give me certainty that I will succeed. But these resources have only been available to me because of the staff and faculty that work hard to provide it. Many of the people supporting me here are part-time workers. Many of the full-time workers make sacrifices as is to support us. Students like me cannot afford to lose them. How will raising tuition help our community? How will cut resources and raised workloads help students? I enrolled back in school knowing I was doing this on my own and rely on the support here at LCC to not be truly alone in this. There are many students here at LCC that fall in my same boat of doing this on their own. And frankly, frankly, we will fail if you force us to do it alone. Please help us to succeed and include us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Next, we have Allison Morris. Following is Mackenzie Leadham. Following is Jennifer Haggerty.
Welcome.
I'm reading this on behalf of another student. Good evening. As a student here at Lane Community College, I'm writing on behalf of the Asian and Pacific Islander Student Union to express our unwavering support for our faculty and the Lane Community College Education Association. We recognize that our instructors are the backbone of our success. However, we are deeply concerned by the current climate of budget uncertainty and stalled negotiations. Because faculty and funding are being cut, our classes are also being cut. For students, this isn't just a scheduling inconvenience, it is making graduation unnecessarily difficult and lengthy. When the courses we need to finish our degrees disappear, we are forced to stay in school longer, increasing our tuition costs and delaying our entry into the workforce. For API and BIPOC students, these cuts erode the mentorship and faculty support that we rely on to navigate higher education. Fair wages and stable working conditions are a key to strong workforce and student success. LCC was a place that I felt was a safe haven from the violence and hate crimes I experienced at home. This is no longer the case. As a direct result of racism and racial bias in the cuts to funding and faculty, I no longer feel safe speaking in this setting. Please stop the cuts that are extending our time to graduation and invest in a contract that reflects the dignity and security our faculty deserve. For us, a fair and respectful solution isn't just a labor issue, it's an equity issue. We need to ensure that LCC remains true to its mission statement, which reads as follows: Lane is the community's college. We provide comprehensive, accessible, quality, learning-centered educational opportunities that promote student success. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mackenzie Leadham. Following is Rick Colby, and following is Vanessa Blackmore.
Welcome.
Hey, everybody. I'm a first-year nursing student, and I didn't prepare a statement, but I had a few, I was deeply concerned. I've been here 2.5 years completing my prerequisites and then starting in nursing school, and over the course of that time, I've gotten to know many faculty and many support staff, but I've never seen the presence of the members of this board felt on campus, even though they occupy this building at various times, most days of the week, of the business week. And my concern is primarily that it appears that the brunt of these cuts is being borne by faculty. I don't see, I would not characterize the proposals on the other side as presenting any attempt at sacrifice by the administration. This is, you all are part of a public entity. Before COVID, my understanding is that this building was not locked and that people could enter into it at their own will. And I understand why it was locked during the demands of COVID, but it has never reopened despite the health emergency having ended. And that's certainly not the case at City Hall. So why is it the case here when you're all public officials? I would like to see the entire community sacrifice to help save this college, and I don't see that happening right now, and I wonder why. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Rick Colby. Following is Vanessa Blackmore, and then we'll be moving to our online public speaker, Leslie Soriano Cervantes.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name's Rick Colby. I've been taking classes at LCC regularly since 2021, and I'm currently a full-time student in the nursing program. I first met you, Dr. Stephanie Bolger, prior to your keynote address at Martin Luther King Jr.'s celebration a year ago. At that time, I was so proud to be an LCC student that day. I'm not so proud any longer. What might Dr. King think, Dr. Bolger, as members of this board and you and others, part of your bargaining team, repeat words of interposition and nullification? What might Dr. King think when he hears about valuable nursing programs that are slashed arbitrarily and without consultation, like our LPN program? I personally think Dr. King might say to us what he said to the striking workers and their supporters in Memphis, Tennessee. We need to keep the issues where they are. The issue is injustice. So please stop pretending that LCC does not have sufficient resources to support its faculty with a fair contract. It's a lie, and it's one that we will not accept. Dr. King told the marching workers and their supporters in Memphis to back up their words and symbolic actions with concrete deeds. He said, we need to anchor our direct action with the power of economic withdrawal. Now, I fully intended to apply to Lane's Bachelor of Science in Nursing program to complete my nursing degree here while working full-time as a nurse. That would have been 1 more year, 2 more years, maybe 3 more years. No longer. I cannot in good conscience give any more money to an institution that refuses to pay its faculty a just wage. We students have choices. We LCC students may individually be poor, we may individually be weak, but together we are strong. Together we are rich, and we will give ourselves to this struggle to the end. So let me conclude by saying, please remember we have choices. You all have choices as well. May we remember to act with compassion, with integrity, and may we always choose the side of justice. Thank you.
Thank you.
If it's okay with you, I'm going to remain up here for my colleague Vanessa Blackmore to give her support.
I appreciate that. Thank you for letting me know.
All right, our final student of the night is Vanessa Blackmore, and then we will move to online speaker Leslie Soriano Cervantes, and then our in-person speaker, Chris Rompala.
Welcome.
Hard to follow. Good evening. My name is Vanessa Blackmore. I'm a second-year nursing student here at Lane. I'm also a practical nurse in the community for Lane County Behavioral Health, but the opinions here are my own. This was originally a written statement, but I felt it was important to speak today. I completed my prereqs here, and what I'm sharing extends beyond the nursing program to the greater LCC faculty. These instructors and staff have made a profoundly positive impact on me during a vulnerable time in my life, and I stand here today to show my support for them in turn. When I first started this program, I was nervous and intimidated after hearing about the challenges friends had faced at less supportive schools. Contrary to those experiences, mine here have been truly wonderful. I have never felt so encouraged, supported, and safe. Encouraged to ask for help, supported when I make mistakes, and safe knowing I am well prepared to begin my nursing practice. Across our state, LCC-trained nurses are known for having some of the best reputations amongst their peers. When I tell people I attend Lane, they consistently praise our new graduates for their readiness compared to other programs. That is a direct reflection of the thoughtful, committed, and rigorous curriculum and the care that faculty invests in both the school and its students. I worry without meeting the reasonable union requests, we risk losing some of our most qualified and dedicated instructors. This would not only impact future cohorts, but threaten the reputation this program currently holds. As nurses in the workforce, we expect cost of living increases and safe staffing ratios as a standard of employment. It is only fair our faculty receive the same. Instructors already earn significantly less than their peers with similar degrees who work outside of education. I implore you to address this injustice. Faculty are not here for income alone. They are here because of their dedication to students and the profession itself. So today I ask that OEA union demands be honored because the people united will never be defeated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Great job.
And next is our one online speaker of the night, Leslie Soriano Cervantes, and following will be Chris Rompala, and following will be Paula Tony.
Who's the next speaker again?
Leslie Soriano Cervantes.
Oh, online? Leslie, we're working on...
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize my camera and my audio was off.
Perfect.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'm sharing a message that I received from a student who wants to remain anonymous due to their concerns about federal immigration enforcement. Dear Leslie Soriano Cervantes, I want to reach out to you following our meeting last Wednesday. Prior to meeting with you, I was very nervous due to the subject of our meeting as a first-generation undocumented student. I was at a block in the road in terms to my education. Due to the current state of the country, I was scared to reach out to just anyone because of the fear of someone not accepting me. I am in constant fear of my family, my community, and my future. Unfortunately, even at Lane, I am not sure who to trust. However, I was motivated by your visit to Mecha last term, where you stated that you were a career counselor and gave us your information to reach out to. I saw your name and I saw a name that looked like mine, a name that sounded familiar in terms to my language. And when I needed guidance, I felt comfortable reaching out to you. Your positive comments on my idea of opening a Hispanic-inspired cafe encouraged me to keep going on this idea. Since I was very discouraged due to everything going on, your story about your elderly father having a ladder ready when doing yard work broke my heart. But it's those stories that empowered something inside of me. Your compassion and understanding of current events made me feel cared for, heard, and not alone. Our meeting was a huge turning point in my education and career. I came in feeling anxious and filled with uncertainty. But your comforting words that I should be proud of what I've accomplished and related this to our culture were exactly what I needed to hear. I am so glad I took the first step to meet with you, and I am so grateful to have someone like you at Lane whom I can rely on my education and career. Thank you, LCC student.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Next, we have Chris Rampala. Following is Paula Tony, and following is Marge Heltzer.
Howdy, y'all. First of all, I'm speaking on behalf of myself and my union, not my employer. Good evening, Chair Folnigy, Vice Chair Russ, and members of the board. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak today as a nurse and ONA leader in support of the faculty at Lane Community College. So my name is Chris Rampala. I'm an operating room nurse at Peace Health Sacred Heart Riverbend Medical Center, chair of the Oregon Nurses Association Riverbend Bargaining Unit, a statewide ONA board member, an American Nurses Association delegate, and proud alumnus of Lane Community College Nursing Program 2014. In my roles with ONA and ANA, I work with nurses and healthcare professionals in Oregon and across the country to advocate for safe patient care, better working conditions, and healthier communities. I'm only able to do this work thanks to the outstanding nurse faculty at LCC. They taught me how to care for patients at the bedside and how to advocate for my community outside the hospital. Quality nursing education relies on dedicated faculty members, safe supervision, effective teaching, and stable learning environments. When teaching conditions become unstable, students' learning suffers and our community is left with fewer caregivers. This is a critical moment. As federal threats to healthcare access increase, we must support the faculty training our next generation of nurses by maintaining sensible class sizes, preserving in-demand courses, and providing fair compensation. We can support their work and acknowledge their importance to students and to our community's long-term health and well-being. For me, this is simple. If we want nurses, we must support the skilled educators who train them. I urge you to support a fair contract that will help recruit, retain, and respect the faculty at LCC. And also think about the nurses at both Peace Health, Riverbend, Mackenzie-Willamette. We have a pipeline to those facilities, and it will be detrimental if there's a delay in people graduating. So thank you for the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you.
Next, we have Paula Tony. Following is Marge Heltzer, and following is Jim Salt.
Welcome.
First, I just wanted to say that it feels like sometimes we're all getting tired of all these public comments, or some people kind of give that energy, and I feel like I'm really glad that we have a backup plan, and that's what I'm going to talk about. At this moment, faculty are faced with a choice. If bargaining doesn't result in an agreement, actually I meant if mediation doesn't result in an agreement, we will have to choose between accepting the administration's final offer and striking. Neither of these is a good choice, so we need to choose the lesser of the two evils. Let's look at the administration's current offer. It asks us to trust administrators to set class sizes. It doesn't protect the health clinic and the mental health and wellness center for students. It weakens job security for faculty. It doesn't significantly address pay parity for part-time faculty, and it makes only a tiny improvement to unfair compensation for labs. It is offering faculty a non-retroactive cost of living adjustment, or less than 1% for this year when inflation is currently 2.7%. It seeks to take over our extremely effective faculty-run professional development program. And finally, it would have us bargaining again less than a year from now. If we say no to all that, what is the alternative? A strike. 90% of faculty have now attended a strike school and signed pledges to stand together in a strike. We will stand together until we get a fair contract. I don't want to strike. A strike would negatively impact both us and our students, but only for the duration of the strike. Striking for a fair contract is better for LCC and our students in the long run. We have waited a very long time to play this card, while bargaining has moved at a snail's pace. There was plenty of time for bargaining. There was time for mediation. Faculty are strong and we are united. We will stand together to support our bargaining team until a fair contract is reached. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, we have Marge Heltzer. Following is Jim Salt. Following is Amy Beasley.
Welcome.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, and President Bulger. My name is Marge Helzer, and I'm going to begin reading a statement from several LCC faculty members. We are speaking tonight as members of the Elaine Community College Education Association. We are here to raise concerns about the January 7th HR report. As you know, a senior administrator used a formal board platform to criticize Multicultural Center faculty for advocating for their rights and to attack the Faculty Association and its elected president. He referred to the faculty union president specifically, including addressing her by her first name 18 times in a 7-minute presentation, characterizing her communications to the board as purposeful misinformation and asserting that the board had been force-fed disinformation. As became obvious, this was not a report. It was an institutional attack on a beloved teacher and a greatly respected faculty leader, and on our highly esteemed Multicultural Center faculty.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jim Salt. Following is Amy Beasley, and following is Jay Frazier.
Welcome.
Good evening. We are not here tonight to correct the false claims made in that HR statement. The board received quickly a point-by-point correction of the many inaccurate and misleading assertions made by the administration. We are here because of the nature of the HR statement itself and because of the precedent that it would set if left unaddressed. When administrative authority is used to publicly discredit a representative organization, its elected leadership, and a group of faculty, particularly faculty from historically oppressed groups, maligning their motives and integrity in a manner that discourages participation and future speech, that conduct not only abuses authority, it violates the fundamental values that institutions of higher education are expected to uphold and model. What crossed the line on January 7th was not disagreement over the facts. It was the use of institutional authority to publicly single out a representative organization and its members in a way that chills participation, discourages advocacy, and intensifies fear of retaliation.
Thank you.
Next, we have Amy Beasley. Following is Jay Frazier, and following is Jeff Borrowdale.
Welcome.
Thank you. In solidarity with my LCCEA colleagues, I'll continue the statement. We would also like to address comments made by board members and the president following the HR statement. Several board members thoughtfully objected to the manner and substance of the presentation, and we are grateful for their efforts to try to ensure this doesn't happen again. Although we were also troubled by responses that minimized the seriousness of the incident by recasting it as merely a matter of style or by suggesting it was merely an effort to provide information. This was not information in any meaningful sense. It was more akin to misinformation in ways that Orwell would recognize. Finally, we respectfully but urgently request that the board chair determine and publicly clarify how the January 7th HR presentation was authorized and reviewed, and by whom. Since President Bulger told the board that if anyone has concerns about the statement, they should take it up with her, it should be easy to ask whether and by whom the HR director was asked or directed to author and make said statement. In closing, as you've seen, recent faculty survey results show morale at its lowest level ever and fear of retaliation at its highest. When board meetings are used to attack employee representatives and marginalized faculty groups, those fears increase and foster an eroding climate for all. We ask the board to exercise their authority as a board to seek to understand why this happened and to take steps to prevent this from ever happening again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jay Frazier. Following is Jeff Borrowdale. Following is Jack Jessup.
Welcome.
Hello. Jay Frazier, LCCEA member and Strike School graduate, which I hope I don't need to use any of that information. So for over 30 years, in addition to working here, I have worked as a semi-professional magician. So if you're going to have a party, you want to spend a lot of money, contact me. But in that, a lot of times when people find out who have my classes, they find out about my second career, I usually tell them, well, I'm in education, which means I've got to do something to make some money, which I wish was just a joke, but there is some truth to it. Performing professionally as a magician has given me the opportunity to work with some very well-respected stand-up comedians. Even though some comedians say that the only unbreakable rule in comedy is that there are no unbreakable rules in comedy, there are a few rules that most of them try to abide by. One of those they phrase in 3 words: don't punch down. So what does that mean? Well, it means that you should not make fun of people who have lower power than you do. In other words, it's fine for a black or brown comedian to make fun of white people. The opposite, not so much. You can find a similar concept in the literature of organizational communication. My master's degree thesis was in that field of organizational communication. Scholars caution organizational members with higher power to be very careful and hesitant about publicly calling out members with lower power, because doing so can seem like you're punching down. While we are all colleagues here, we do not have the same level of power. The higher administrators, like the VPs, have more power than any individual faculty member. They have different responsibilities. I think they get paid more. You board members don't get paid, but you arguably have more power than any of us employees. So I would like to very respectfully suggest that we all take a page from the world of stand-up comedy and don't punch down. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jeff Borrowdale. Following is Jack Jessup. Following is Haley Burley.
Welcome.
I've been at Lane as full-time faculty member for almost 25 years now, and I've never seen the relationship between faculty and administration this bad. Even during the budget crises, of which there were quite a few, the faculty would make their pitch, the administration would make their pitch, and they'd meet someplace in the middle. This time, with enrollment picking up and PERS payments being sloughed off to a bond, the administration is staking out extreme positions that take long-standing faculty rights in the contract out in the name of crisis that doesn't exist. Their plan seems to be to gut the contract, jack up class sizes, cut sections, lay off part-time faculty, and increase the workload for full-time faculty to compensate while virtually freezing our salaries. It's like they're goading us to strike. Well, we're ready to strike. I went to strike school last night, and there were 120 disgruntled, angry faculty who feel disrespected and are in a situation where they're ready to strike. And a strike, I think, would be bad for everyone. It will make everyone miserable. It's going to make my life miserable. It's going to make the administration's life miserable. It's going to make the students miserable. It's going to cause chaos and all sorts of problems that can be avoided if the administration would simply just take a step back, make a reasonable offer, and come to an agreement. And I think there's still time to do that. I have hopes for the negotiation will be fruitful. But if it doesn't, and I'm also worried that it's not going to, if the administration keeps on with their extreme proposals and is unwilling to compromise, there will be a strike, and that's going to be really bad. So I hope that we can avoid that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jack Jessup. Following is Haley Burley. Following is Jerry Minahan.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board and President Bolger. My name is Jack Jessup, and I sit before you today as a member of the nursing faculty and a proud member of LCCEA, our faculty union. I'm here because we're at a crossroads. As nursing faculty, I teach my students that excellence requires stability, focus, and a commitment to the person in front of you. Right now, our faculty, the very heart of this institution, are asking for that same commitment from this board. We need a contract that reflects the reality of the work we do and the cost of living in the community we serve. To understand why fairness isn't just a budget line item before us, I want to share a bit of my own personal story. In 2005, I came to Lane Community College to pursue a stable career change into nursing. And after graduating, came back to LCC as a nursing instructor because I believe what we do here is critical. 14 years ago, my wife and I realized another lifelong dream. We became parents, not just to one child, but to a sibling group of 3 that we adopted. My wife, Lisa, and my daughter, Emily, are here tonight to help support me. Choosing to adopt 3 children at once was an act of faith and a commitment to their future. We promised our children stability. We promised them a home where they didn't have to worry about the what-ifs. Lane Community College has been the foundation that allowed me to keep my promises. When we faculty fight for a fair contract, we aren't just fighting for percentages. We're fighting for our families. We're fighting to ensure that the faculty who pour their souls into Lane students can continue to provide for their own children at home. In the nursing department, we're training the next generation of healthcare heroes. We do this amidst increasing complexity in healthcare. We show up for our students every day. 14 years ago, I committed to my children to stand by them no matter what. I'm asking you to stand by the faculty. Help us in this time advocate for a fair contract.
Thank you.
Next, we have Haley Burley. Following is Jerry Minahan, and following is Bonnie Samoa.
Welcome.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Holly Burley, and I am a proud graduate of a strike school. Thank you. Being an immigrant in the United States right now is stressful. ICE can come into your community, into your life, and take away the people you love. ICE is causing fear and paranoia among immigrants who are trying to improve their lives. Likewise, being a student at Lane right now is stressful. Students come to Lane Community College to improve their lives. We are a stepping stone to a brighter future. The students put their eggs in our basket, but we let them down. Asking students to register for classes a year in advance, only to cancel them later, is cruel and antithetical to our presumed goal. We are ruining our own reputation. And when I say we, I mean you. You are causing fear and paranoia among students who have no idea if you will take away the classes they need. Being a teacher at Lane right now is stressful. Lane used to be a decent place to study and work. Now, I am painfully aware that I may be fired for no other reason than the fact that I am not full-time. Someone has come into my community, into my life, to take away the job I love. Being part-time faculty has always been stressful, but now my fear and paranoia is magnified by the fact that we have no contract and therefore even less job security. If I am fired, I will not be able to support my family. If I am fired, I will not have enough money to retire in the near future. The threat of being fired is like having a target on my back. I deserve better. Our students deserve better. Our whole school deserves better. Do better.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jerry Minahan. Following is Bonnie Samoa, and following is Terry Macedo Ivanescas.
Welcome.
Good evening, Board of Education members and President Bolger. My name is Jerry Minahan, and I'm a faculty member and a member of the LCCA bargaining team. For the past year, the college administration has built its bargaining strategy around a narrative of crisis and austerity, often exaggerated, sometimes demonstrably false. We've seen a 1.2% COLA offer with no retroactive pay, premature and excessive demands for costing from the college's bargaining team, inflated estimates of faculty proposals, and a steady stream of messaging meant to soften the ground for concessions. Faculty are not naive. We understand that budget constraints are real. But that reality makes something else very clear. The administration's most extreme proposals are not about money. They are about control and about dismantling faculty rights and protections that were not given to us, but fought for and won over more than 50 years of collective bargaining. Placing faculty professional development funding under the Vice President for Academic Affairs does not save the college a dollar. It centralizes authority, weakens shared governance, and puts professional judgment in the hands of someone who has never taught in a community college classroom. Reducing protections in the grievance procedure is not fiscal responsibility. It is a calculated weakening of the mechanisms faculty rely on when the contract is violated. And the proposal for a 2-year contract ensures perpetual bargaining. More attorney fees, more staff time, more disruption, more rallies, more public comment, and more damage to morale. This is not efficiency. It will only create more instability for the institution. Board members, you have the authority and the responsibility to insist that the administration bargain in earnest to reach a fair agreement without further delay. It's entirely unreasonable that the administration is seeking to strip away the basic rights and protections of our contract, non-economic issues such as job security and shared governance structures that generations of faculty built and defended before us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Bonnie Samoa. Following is Terry Macedo Ivanescas, and following is Jody James.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Bonnie Samoa, part-time dance faculty. Thank you for allowing me the time to speak with you this evening. What you're about to hear are voices directly from former dance students at Lane. They speak to academic success, belonging, mental and physical health, leadership, and connection to a wider community. These are not abstract benefits. They are outcomes produced by curriculum, mentorship, and sustained faculty support. As you listen, I ask that you hear these comments not as nostalgia, but as evidence of what is being lost as the program is systematically dismantled, and what is still possible if the dance program is fully supported. Voice 1. Dance helped me build confidence, taught me how to carry myself in front of my peers, to explore my humanity. Being a career welder, fabricator, and ironworker, it taught me the importance of being limber. It helped me read body language and improve my posture. I learned about different cultures. I found my wife through dance. We started a small pie company that supports us, that will help us pay for our college and continued education. Voice 2. I cannot overstate the impact of dance at Lane on my life and career path. I entered community college not planning to pursue dance, but my final year at Lane changed everything. I transferred to the University of Oregon, earned my degree in dance, and now teach dance full-time with continuing to perform. The faculty and community at Lane pushed me to explore new horizons, and I'm still in contact with many of my peers that I danced with back then. Voice 3. The Lane Dance Program is the reason why I'm a professional dancer today. It allowed me to return to vigorous training after what I believed was a career-ending injury. After 2 years at Lane, I transferred to the University of Wales and completed my degree in dance, where I now live and work as a dancer and teacher. This would not have been possible without the training and support of the Lane Dance Program. In closing, what you heard is not nostalgia. It's evidence of what still works and what we stand to lose if the dance program is not properly funded. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Was that like right on or no?
Unfortunately over, but
Oh, but thank you so much.
thank you.
Next, we have Terry Macedo Ivanascus. Following is Jody James, and following is Micah Hallbrook.
Esteemed members of the Board of Education, first I would like to express my gratitude and respect to the LCC Education Association. I sincerely appreciate the dedication of President Adrienne Mitchell and the hard work of the union members who make up the negotiating team. We are all bombarded with often contradictory information, but I prefer to hear the dissenting voices of an inclusive community than the complacent silence of an authoritarian organization. I'm also here as a faculty member to this college to express my deep concern about the current state of collective bargaining between administration and faculty representatives. It has been demoralizing to witness the lack of progress in these negotiations. The LCC faculty has been more dedicated than ever to the students, which is reflected in increasing enrollment numbers. But instead of celebrating and rewarding this successful work, we are faced with alarming proposals and reduced hard-won rights and threatened compensation. Personally, despite my admiration for the LCC's mission, I have been feeling quite worried and demotivated. I'm usually happy to make room in my classes to accommodate as many students as possible. But now, with spring approaching and negotiations stalled, I don't really know what to tell the students who contacted me about the next term. Can I assure them that the next term will be proceeding normally? This uncertainty is not good for anyone, and I fear for the reputation and accreditation of the college if this impasse is not resolved soon in a fair and amicable manner. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jody James. Following is Micah Hallbrook. And finally, our last speaker of the night, Eric Kim.
Evening.
Welcome.
The dance program at Lane is at risk. The dance faculty took it upon themselves to create a Google questionnaire which was sent to past and current Lane students as well as any educator that has had a relationship with Lane dance. My colleague Bonnie Samoa just spoke about student responses, and I'm going to speak about educator responses. Our first question was, can you speak to the impact Lane Dance has had on either you, people you know, or your community? A response was, taking courses in Continuum at LCC was a pivotal moment in my journey as a somatic practitioner and educator. I took the work I learned there to transform my pedagogy and to teach hundreds of professors in academia to bring embodied practice into their work in a time of societal crisis. Another response, LCC Dance has impacted me as an artist tremendously. The ethos of serving an inclusive community while creating safer spaces to take artistic risk and to push boundaries has been invaluable to my artistic evolution. I have taught nationally and internationally at universities and institutions, and the way that LCC, in particular Bonnie Samoa, created welcome into community and into the body is world-class. I'm going to skip ahead. What would you say are the biggest strengths of the program? a welcoming and atmosphere with rigorous training that accepts all who wish to dance. Varied techniques and leveling creates the space for dance as a human, artistic, imaginative practice. Whether or not these dancers choose to become professional in the dance world, they are learning to bring creativity and imagination to anything they do. Exposure to a wide range of cultures is essential to all learning, and the Lane Department of Dance offers the structures for that exposure. Last question, is there anything else you would like to say about this program? Response, please fund this crucial program.
Thank you.
Next, we have Micah Hallbrook, and we have Eric Kim as our final speaker of the night.
Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Micah Hallbrook. I'm an alumni here. I graduated just last year. This school is many things. It's the next step for many, but for the less conventional in our society, it's a second chance or a life raft. The teachers here have created systems that work to uplift not only the typical student, but the divergent student as well. You have an irreplaceable organic framework built and staff that is far more specialized than they are recognized for. Losing them will be a larger hardship than you realize. Most aren't here for a paycheck. The paycheck just makes the work sustainable. According to a recent survey, 46% of incoming U of O students identify as neurodivergent. I have no doubt that asking such a question at LCC would yield far higher results. The teachers you're risking are unintentional specialists in working with neurodivergent students. You could make this school explode with relevance to today's students, or you can overlook it long enough to find yourself digging to replace teachers that were perfect for a job we'll soon need whether we lead the charge or not. I've spoken with most of the departments involved in specializing more in neurodivergent style teaching techniques, and they've all been excited with my ideas and plan. I have sourced and identified faculty that want to participate in most departments and located methods to fill gaps in technique to ready volunteer faculty for innovative efforts. I have volumes of students that would change their trajectory from across the country for a school with this available. LCC could be a target college to attend. All we need is administrative effort and the teachers we have now treated with respect, incentive, and a fair contract. Thank you.
And our final speaker of the night, Eric Kim.
Welcome.
If you're online, email me at kim.e@lanecc.edu, and you will be automatically sent an image that I'm passing out in the room. Good evening, everyone. My name's Eric Kim. Psychologists study errors in thinking to understand how people actually think. Can you identify the correct penny? Most people are confident that it is the one that says 1 cent. 1 cent is on the back. In this case, confidence in what most people believe isn't correct. When identifying which penny is real, we unconsciously answer an easier question: which one is familiar? We assume what is familiar must be correct. As a student, we can mistakenly believe that because something is familiar, we know it. This can lead to overconfidence when studying and become surprised when we do poorly on exams. Lifelong learners need to know the errors we make, learn from them, and be less wrong faster. In a civil society, it is important to understand how people think. Repeated messages, whether true or false, sound familiar over time. To assess a claim's accuracy, instead of thinking critically, we take a shortcut and ask if it sounds familiar. If it is familiar, we think it's true. Political echo chambers repeat messages that sound true over time. If you want to feel safe and be static, stay in the echo chamber. If you want to be challenged and grow, seek different points of view. There are many errors when determining what is reality. It's easy to rely on our intuition, what everyone believes, or what is familiar. But that's not always correct. Knowledge acquired through scientific processes increase accuracy in identifying what is real and what isn't. Overconfidence in our beliefs keeps us from pulling out our compass, to see if we're on the right direction. We should pull out a penny and see if we should pull out a penny and get feedback to see if our intuitions are correct. Thank you for your time.
Excellent. Oh, did you lose it?
I got it.
Thank you, everyone. All right, before moving on to reports, I want to make sure, would the board like to take a quick 10-minute bio break? All right, I'm seeing some head nods. We'll go ahead and take a bio break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Got our board members back. All right. We'll come back into order here for reports. I just want to make sure I get visuals on all the board members. Slowly coming back. And let's see, I don't see any more individuals in building, or in the room 213, so we could probably just reduce that. Do we have Zach? Oh, there he is, yeah. Zach, are you able to turn on your camera? There we go. Great. All right. Now that everyone's back, we'll move on to reports. We'll start with the SGA report. President Hampton.
Thank you. So this, the mics are working. I had that question all night. So this month we had the engagement mixture. We had roughly 250 students come to that. It was a collaboration between COSO, Coalition of Student Organizations, and SGA. Excited to say we had the PSU Leadership Conference. We sent a total of 11 people there. The elections debate was hosted this week, yesterday, Tuesday. We had roughly in attendance about 15 people, which was an upgrade from last year. And an important one for our team is a Know Your Rights event. We have a few members of SGA working on a Know Your Rights event for this term. Getting students in the know about ICE immigration and what they can do to help support their fellow students as well as themselves. And then today, as I'm sure you all know, we had the Board of Education watch party. I believe we had roughly 20 to 30 students at that, so an improvement from last time. And I think most of them stayed through public comment, but you know, it gets late for students. That is all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie, go ahead.
I just had a quick question for you, President Hampton. What was how did the watch party go last year last time, and what was the overall feedback and feelings of students watching the process?
That is a good question. Last time, we heard a lot of concern created from the public comment about what was talked about during public comment and students getting interested in what was happening. This time around, I am not sure. I haven't gotten any feedback from my team yet.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate all the students who participated in the watch party, so thank you. Next, we have LCCA report. Adrian Mitchell.
Good evening, members of the board, President Hampton, President Bulger. Tonight I'll report on two topics, labor relations and bargaining and next steps. LCCEA has had to file another unfair labor practice complaint due to the HR report and administration and board discussion from the January 7th board meeting, which constitute unlawful interference and coercion of union members and leaders, including but not limited to LCCEA grievance team members and Multicultural Center faculty members. As you may recall, LCCEA officers requested both in fall of 2024 and fall 2025 that you as the Board of Education take action to ensure collaborative and productive labor relations, providing a long list of recommended specific actions that could be taken, including things like joint trainings, which we have done many times successfully in the past, and incorporating productive labor relations into the LCC president's goals, providing clear direction that that's a priority for the board and the institution. Due to the unprecedented level of labor disputes, unfortunately, this has not come to fruition. The board declined to take action at that time, and LCC's unfair labor practice activity has since surged, and among other legal issues, led to mounting legal fees that the college pays to outside attorneys approaching $1 million, if not more. We are gravely disappointed that the Board of Education has not taken any public action to direct the administration to cease and desist from engaging in unfair labor practice activity, and that some members of the administration and Board of Education publicly expressly supported and/or participated in the unlawful activity that occurred on January 7th. We are disillusioned and gravely disappointed by the inaction of the Board of Education with regard to disparate impacts of campus conditions on BIPOC faculty, which is well documented by both LCC administration and LCCEA in terms of full-time faculty resignations and early retirements, including the resignation on January 7th of our highly esteemed colleague, Avery Old Coyote, who is the second Native American Student Program Coordinator to resign since 2022, and who had announced his resignation on the very same day during public comment at your meeting. Please take some time to review in detail the email I sent on January 10th with substantial documentation of the full-time faculty members who have resigned or retired early due to the conditions on campus as people of color that they have experienced, a number of whom have cited retaliation by the administration as their reason for leaving. In December, the all-faculty survey revealed unprecedented and deeply concerning results. 69% of faculty report fearing retaliation if they speak up about campus conditions. 70% report concerns about impacts of campus conditions on marginalized groups. 83% report low or lowest morale, and 90% or more report low or lowest trust in upper administration. Sadly, these are only exacerbated by the retaliatory HR report, publicly supported by LCC administration and some board members on January 7th. Increasing fear of retaliation that is already widespread among the supermajority of faculty. It certainly increases my own. And you have seen tonight with the speakers from the student identity unions who have shared with you that this fear of retaliation is also impacting students who have made clear to you that they no longer feel safe at LCC. As the governing body for Lane Community College, it is up to you as the Board of Education to take action to set LCC on a proper course, one that is safe and welcoming, and at a bare minimum, one that expressly prohibits retaliation against union members, union activity, BIPOC faculty advocates, and whistleblowers. In these challenging times, your leadership and proactive participation are direly needed. I'll also briefly address the topic of bargaining, and I will be providing to you a written report that includes some charts and graphs and, of course, some lovely photos. So regarding bargaining and next steps, the first information I'd like to share is to highlight how is LCC spending money. And when you receive the report, you will see a pie graph which is taken directly from the FY25 official audit document, the most recent audit document, showing that of all of the expenditures, 32.3% goes to instruction and 11.2% to student services, for a total of 43.5%. Please note that instruction as a category includes faculty, classified, management, and materials and services for all instructional departments. So all instructional departments add up to 32.3%, less than a third, plus 11.2 on student services, comprise 43.5% of all of LCC's expenditures. That's part of the underlying reason why we are striving for a contract that meets student needs and meets faculty basic essential needs as well. Yet, we are receiving at this point in time a proposal from the administration that still represents a net reduction in investment in faculty. We estimate that the total net proposal from the administration is a negative $617,618, roughly 2% cut as a percentage of total faculty salaries. That includes factoring in the administration's COLA proposal, including OPE and minimal stipends provided to flight tech faculty. If you're not aware of our flight tech faculty, they literally fly in airplanes with student pilots, risking their lives, and are paid on a salary schedule that's lower than the rest of the part-time faculty. We estimate that the administration's proposal would result in a reduction of 24% of the sections that are available for part-time faculty to teach, and would result in significant job loss for our most vulnerable faculty members. Some of these cuts would be the result of workload increases in social science, where the increase would be more than 22%, increases in studio arts workload, and cuts to compensation for advanced tech faculty in the trades. We're grateful that the administration has provided some updated salary data showing that last year, total faculty salaries, the amount that that was actually spent on full-time faculty, went down by 2.31%, a negative 2.31%. These data correct the inaccurate data that had been presented inadvertently in November. What are the kinds of things that faculty support? We're asking for safety for everyone in the event of a lockdown. We're asking that LCC follow its own attorney's advice on recommendations on how to keep everyone safe during a lockdown. Fair pay that helps faculty afford to live in the community where we work. Reasonable workloads so that 20% of faculty won't have to work 60 hours a week anymore. Reasonable budget exigency language that allows unpaid furlough days during in-service if there is a budget exigency. We think unpaid furlough days during in-service are reasonable and should be enough. Those don't affect students. Yet the administration wants the opportunity, if there is a budget exigency, to open up the contract to renegotiate all economics. We could literally be in a constant state of negotiation at this institution. While the administration continues to misrepresent LCCEA proposals with exaggerated estimates of the cost of our proposals, including $25 or $26 million for a new building that we have never asked for and clarified multiple times that we have never asked for, it's not all about money. So much of what the administration is proposing would remove fundamental faculty rights or not agree to basic fundamental protections that would cost nothing. Things like privacy rights, data privacy. The administration is proposing to cut timelines for notice for faculty layoffs, extending legally required negotiations through the middle of summer when there are faculty layoffs that faculty wouldn't even know for sure that they were laid off until July 15th during that negotiation period that is legally required. We're asking for things that don't cost money, like protection of our constitutional rights to academic freedom to choose to use or not artificial intelligence in our teaching. We're asking to add immigration status to our non-discrimination clause. That costs nothing. And we're asking for simple steps to keep all people safe, like using the LCC alert system that already exists if ICE comes on campus, like Clackamas Community College is already doing. What could possibly be the explanation for not providing that kind of notice to keep every member of our campus community safe? So we're going on to mediation February 12th, and we're happy that there's finally been an additional date agreed to, which is February 19th. By February 27th, there could be an impasse if we can't reach a reasonable agreement. Faculty, on our side, we're prepared. We work on packages. We're meeting 2 days a week. We're working on packages like the one we presented back in December that did fit within the administration's budget for faculty this year, despite the exaggerated estimates we keep hearing. Our members are attending strike schools and we're collecting strike pledges. It's certainly not what we want, to have to go on strike. It has never happened at a community college in the state of Oregon. It's not what we think is best for Lane Community College, but we have to prepare. It's up to you as the board to settle a fair contract with both the faculty and the classified, and up to you if we don't. Thank you.
Thank you. For LCCEF, I was told Tammy Hill is not online. Is there anyone from LCCEF available to speak? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to the president's report. Dr. Bulger. President
Yes.
Bulger.
Good evening, everyone. Just a few items there. Certainly, my report is in the board packet, and you can read the report when you have the time. The highlight of my week so far was something that Amelia mentioned, and was the student leadership debate. Now, this is a debate, a forum for the students who are interested in becoming senators and other leadership positions in the Student Government Association. So I was delighted, actually, to go to that yesterday and then sit through the entire session. These are the leaders students who have stepped up and said that they really want to take on these leadership roles here at the college. And so I could not be more delighted about working with some of them next year. Second thing I want to mention that's in my report is that we were also delighted. It's been a good week so far. We were delighted that there's some funding coming through the community-initiated project funds. This is at the federal level, and that Lane is going to receive $1.6 million, and that is going to help with equipment purchases for cybersecurity, robotics, advanced manufacturing. We couldn't be more delighted for that as well. Really appreciate the support from our senators here, and that bill was signed yesterday. And the last thing that I will mention is that it's hard to believe that I've been here nearly 4 years now, because when I came in, there was a strategic plan that the board had recently approved. It's a 2022 to 2027 strategic plan, which means that we are now beginning the pre-planning for the next strategic plan. So it's hard to believe, but it's really, really exciting work and something that the entire college and community will be involved with. So this is one of those gifts that a president just really, really looks forward to, is leading a college to the next strategic plan, and I'm delighted and looking forward to that. And that's my report.
Thank you, President Bulger. All right, we will now move on to the consent agenda. Are there any changes to be made to the consent agenda? Looking around. Seeing none, do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll move
Or
to adopt
consent
the agenda.
Oh, sorry, the consent agenda, I apologize.
I'll move to adopt the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Any abstentions? With permission from the board, I would like to make a comment in regards to my abstention. Any objections? Out of abundance of caution and a primary commitment to the institution's integrity of this college, I have voluntarily decided and made a decision to recuse myself from all deliberations and voting regarding the president's current contract negotiations. I want to be explicitly clear. I'm taking this step to exercise prudent oversight to mitigate even the slightest perception of institutional risk or potential liabilities. By removing myself from the final decision-making process, I ensure the board's actions is beyond reproach and protect any claims of irregularity. My priority is, and always will be, first to do the right thing, and also make sure that the public's confidence in the board governance is strong. I support the board and my colleagues in their decision in this matter. Zach, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I would also like to read a statement with permission of the board.
Excellent. Is there any objection from the board? Seeing none, Zach, go ahead.
For the record, out of an abundance of caution, I was not involved in the process to develop the president's contract and will therefore abstain from voting on it. I support the board and my colleagues' decision on this matter. Thank you.
All right. Looking around for any further? Excellent. We will now move on to the action items. We have action item A, which is the F26 budget mid-year to date financial report and 3-year forecast. President Bulger?
Yes, I'd like to ask Kara Flath and Jonathan Campbell to come forward and make a presentation, and also, because this is an action item, they will also be presenting some options for the board to consider. Kara?
Thank
Thank you. If you can pull up, I know he's working on it. While he's doing that, thank you for having us here for the second quarter forecast update. Just to remind you, we're now 6 months into the fiscal year. This will take us for July 1st through June 30th, wouldn't that be nice? December 31st. So we'll get 6 months through the year. There are more expenses at the end of the year than there is in the beginning of the year for several reasons, but this will give us a good picture, and it is a movable picture as we continue to see what spending trends are. We still have negotiations we get through. We still have other things that we have to finalize before we have other sets of numbers, but this is a snapshot of where we are at this point. So we want to give you that update, provide you some options of where we're at right now given our current forecast, and then talk through updated salary data that was included in this packet. Next page. This is a beautiful, if you've never seen the aviation program, we're just trying to add new pictures to make numbers fun. So please visit, yeah. Okay, on to the other fun stuff. So with our second quarter forecast, what we're seeing is our total resources, which you could see as revenue, it's the money we're bringing into the current year, is $101.3 million, almost $0.4 million. Our operating requirements, you could visualize as expenditures, is $102.2 million-ish. We are overspending, projecting to overspend through the end of the year about $800,000 at this point. So if you roll that forward for our goals of our beginning fund balance was $8 million, we take in this deficit spending of $800,000, puts us at an ending fund balance of about $7.2 million. So we lose a little ground on that $7 million. The next page gives us there's a quick recap, but I'm going to let Jonathan go through changes at this point in time.
Thanks, Kara. So this is just a recap of what's in the assumptions, and there's a handout that goes along with this PowerPoint slide. I'm not going to recap this slide, so if you could go to the next slide, please. So the big drivers behind the Q1 and the Q2 forecast were primarily two things. So we were seeing an increase in revenue. We were seeing a higher collection rate on property taxes. We also are seeing enrollment above the 2% mark at this point in time. So we do have an increase in student fees and tuition. We also adjusted how we did transfers in, essentially. So that would relate to the Peace Health program. We have a partnership with them where we get grant money to support the faculty nursing program. On the expenditure side, it's a little bit higher than we thought, so that's related to the vacancy savings, to the vacant positions that we thought we were going to have. And when we go position by position, look at all the increases in the costs that we're seeing so far, we're not meeting those vacancy savings targets that we said we were going to meet back in May. There's also additional expenses for things that we are out of our control that we didn't plan for. Primarily, that's the center building, and that costs us about $200,000. This forecast does not include state funding reductions at any point in time. It doesn't have any impacts of enrollment. We're seeing some slowdown in enrollment, but we haven't yet put that in. So at this point, the aggregate increase is above our budget target of 2%. We don't know if there's going to be any unforeseen costs like the center building repairs. We also know that negotiations are still in process, so we don't know where we're going to land on that. So go to the next slide.
And before you go to the next slide, I just want to provide a little bit of context and kind of go back to the spring of last year with the board and with the college community. And this was at the budget committee time period when you might recall that we presented a budget to the budget committee, and the budget committee said, no, this budget has a structural deficit in it. And so we went back and we presented a sustainable budget. That a sustainable budget had 4 buckets, I believe, isn't that right? And one of those buckets was vacancy savings. And what we said to the budget committee, which consists of the Board of Education and also 7 members of the community. And so we said to them that vacancy savings was one of those ways that we were going to reduce the budget by $3.5 million. in fiscal year '26. So here we are. And so what Jonathan was just referring to was that vacancy savings assumes that a certain percentage of individuals at the institution are going to retire or resign and on their own. And we looked at historical figures to be able to come up with that number. And what's happening is that that's not occurring. Can you give us what the percentage has been, the trend?
I could say that last year at this time, we had between 30 and 40 open positions that were rotating, and at some point in the process, this year we have between 5 and 10. And they are primarily public safety, custodians, the AVP for culture and belonging, so it's a very tight roster at best.
So we think what's happening, and it's anyone's guess, I imagine, but we think what's happening is that people are just not leaving their positions for a lot of reasons that we probably see in the national and statewide and local landscape. And so I just wanted to give that additional context, because what we're going to be doing tonight is giving the board some options for how to mitigate this $800,000 that was just talked about.
Yes, and as President Bolger said, one of the cautions I had for the board when we pass this budget and the budget committee is if we aren't able to capture the expected 1.5% vacancy savings, which is 1.7 million, you would see me back saying two options. One, we would either have to reduce our expenditures, what we're spending, not the budget, but our expenses, or two, dip into the ending fund balance, which is our contingency account. So there is, we have four options laid out here for this projected overage. And the first one is you direct the president to reduce our spending by $800,000 through the end of the year. And that will be done through a variety of means. We'll have to go back to the drawing board, spend some time and figure out what positions can we hold open, what areas can we reduce, what M&S areas can be reduced in the expense area, or do we reduce how much we're paying off for the Fund 9 deficits this year, which just kicks the can down the road. That's about $800,000 in total. So between all of those, we would have to go back to the drawing board, figure out what that looks like, and come back to the board. Option two is we can take the $800,000 and pull it from our contingency account, which will just reduce our ending fund balance. We can do that motion right now. Option three is a combination of both, saying maybe half is made up in reducing our current year expenditure path and half is withdrawn from our ending fund balance. Or option four is that we do nothing today, we just continue to monitor it, but know that by result of that inaction is we just will have to take it from the ending fund balance later and continue to watch the projections, which we will bring you another quarter forecast, and we look at it monthly to see what those trends and what things change. But those are essentially, in a very short summary, the four options that we're laying out there. And I'm sure there's questions.
Excellent. Are there any questions from the board specifically around these four options? Zach, go ahead.
Can you speak to this idea of reducing Fund 9 payoff, deficit payoff? My understanding is that this year we were putting in 1.3 million, but that was effectively just keeping us treading water in Fund 9. Would reducing our payoff effectively mean we would be running deficits in Fund 9 for the year?
That could potentially happen depending on the other revenue that's brought within Fund 9. So if we reduce that whole payback in Fund 9 by the $800,000, what we'll have to do is increase our mitigation plan for the next 3 years by another $230,000, I think it is. So if we do not transfer that into Fund 9, we may have to make corrections before the end of the year if that fund ends in a deficit. So my concern would be we ended the year 2024 with about $800,000 in that fund. We ended 2025 with about $80,000. So if it continues to deplete without that pay down, we have done a lot of strategies to make sure we're not overspending in areas in Fund 9 at the same time. So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board and make sure we really can move what we recommend. So that's why we would have to go back and really look at where we can take that $800,000 if that's the desire of the board.
Kevin?
Thank you. Is it fair to characterize option 1, 2, and 3 as starting with the most fiscally conservative and less fiscally conservative as you go 2 to 3? I'm not including option 4 because I'm not even sure that, I don't even know what that means, but, so 1, 2, 3, is it fair to think of those as most fiscally, sort of fiscally, not as fiscally conservative?
I would say most fiscally conservative is option 1, reducing that. Next is option 3, actually. Least conservative is option 2.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Zach?
What is the functional difference between option 2 and option 4?
Functionally, right now, it tells us we're comfortable with overspending the year by $800,000 without taking dramatic action. Option 4, no action is close to doing the same thing, but taking no action today. It essentially would not give time to have any reaction to make any reductions this year in spending. So they're similar. They're just what the board would like to do as far as making a decision now that we're comfortable with $800,000 or not.
If I'm right about this, we included option 4, but that's not exactly what we promised the board and the budget committee. And so we included it here just as an option, but we really want to make good on our promise to reduce the budget by $3.5 million this year.
Has these options been through the budget subdevelopment committee? Or have been brought up in conversation or go over assumptions with the different options?
Not at this point. Our next meeting is Friday, so we can have discussions on it. This, what the board desires to do with this can't be changed within what we do with budget development subcommittee, as this is already on track to be spent this year. So we will bring back conversation and have discussion with that, and the hope is that budget development subcommittee really stays focused on getting our budget developed for next year as well.
Understood. But they can also look at the various assumptions too and get feedback on some of those assumptions as well, correct?
Yep, we can do that. My concern would be how we stay on track with getting our budget developed for next year.
Understood. Thank you. Let's see, Julie, sorry. Can we make sure that we have a visual of all board members? Thank you. Julie, go ahead.
Okay, let me make sure I understand, because a lot of information to digest of trying to figure out where we are. This is not the place I was hoping we would be. So is this $800,000 shortfall in addition to the $600,000 roundabout authority that we gave the administration to cut when we approved the budget? And this amount is actually built into the kind of that 1.7 that we had approved for hoping for vacancy savings, and we're now going to add that on. I'm trying to figure out where we were on the actual approved budget and where we are now, or is this where we're just going to find ourselves? It's actually worse than we thought. I'm trying to figure out where we are.
No, that's a good question. And so when we went through this sustainable budget with our budget committee, we actually reduced $3.5 million. In that $3.5 million was 1.7 was vacancy savings oriented, which is where 600 of the 800,000 were not meeting vacancy savings. The piece that you're talking about, I believe, is the other. There was 648,000 we were cutting in other areas. Those have been implemented. We have done all of those. This is directly related to the 1.7 in vacancy savings.
Got it. So essentially, we have approximately $600,000 that didn't happen in vacancy savings, or is it even worse than that because there's a couple of other materials and service stuff in there?
Yeah, essentially to date, we haven't met 600,000 of our vacancy savings. We're projecting not to meet 600,000 of our vacancy savings. There could be, if there's a surprise of a bunch of resignations or something before the end of the year, that might change, but what we're projecting is 600,000 in vacancy savings. The 200,000 is directly related to a deferred maintenance repair that we had to make. That was 200,000 that wasn't funded or budgeted, and we do not have a deferred maintenance fund to cover it.
So in option 3, I think it is, the combination, is that where the 200 in deferred maintenance gets done? And then what's the resolution for the other 200 for? Operationals?
Yeah, essentially what it is it's 800,000 that is projected to be overspent. Option 3 is 200,000. We fund that deferred maintenance with our ending fund balance, our contingency account, and 200,000 is for operational. That helps with that vacancy savings. So that gets us down to 400,000 that we have to mitigate this year.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Steve, before you go, just a dynamic question. You just have one more slide on this presentation. Will that provide any additional information to us, or should we just focus on these options for now?
Not for this conversation. It won't help for that.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me ask that question. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, Kara, question for you. So, right, I'm thinking about this in the context of our 3-year plan, right, to try to get back to 10%, right? And this, potentially slows us down. There was also some news today. I know it's very late breaking and all the rest about, state budget and, a little rosier than we had been led to believe to this point. And is there any, I get that it's late breaking, you haven't had a chance to think about it, but can you give us any context there to help us think about how much of this we would want to absorb now and how much we might delay a little bit because the picture may change given the state budget?
Yeah, and given everything in the given everything that we have planned, both in our 3-year mitigation plan and in our forecast, we're assuming that the state funding is not cut already. So our anticipation was when they went into, the state legislature went in, that there was a potential of up to a 5% cut. And so that none of that's been included in here. So our hope is that we just retain our state funding, which would mean they do no cuts. And while the economic forecast is better, they do have a lot of things, and I know Brett has a lot of context, but they have a lot of things that they do need to continue to fund. So we need to wait and let that process come out and just hope that we stay intact. That would be the best case scenario. There's not been a situation I've heard of or that Brett's told me where they're going to give colleges any more funding right now. There's not that ample of funding, and I'm looking to make sure he says nope. So there's not that. So all we can do is hope we stay on this path. What I will say is our mitigation plan did include our Q1 forecast overage in the estimations, which was 550,000. So this is another 250,000 worse picture than it was in the first quarter, but we did build in that our ending fund balance would be 550,000 less than it was. So part of that's been built in our mitigation plan.
And just based on the things you're saying, can I infer that you would recommend 1 or 3 to us and not to do something at least, if not the whole thing, at least half of it? Don't keep kicking cans down the road. We've done a lot of that, and that's where is that about right?
Yes, we have talked about this and talked about it just today again, and said what were we really going to recommend to the board, and we would recommend option 3, which is a combination, so that the institution does not feel $800,000 completely, which I believe is option 1, and it's not option 2 that it's coming out of the ending fund balance. That keeps us on track with the 3-year mitigation plan. So we're looking at option 3 to recommend to the board.
That's where I was inclined to go.
All right. And just FYI, a motion and a second can still allow for discussion for any of these options. So if we ever get to that point, just FYI. Zach, go ahead.
So the difference between this 3-year forecast and the last one for the 3-year plan is the 1 quarter's deficit. Can you remind what is the expected each deficit for each term? Currently, is it 250,000 per term, 300,000?
No, what we're doing is we're forecasting through the end of the year, but we're saying from quarter one's forecast to quarter two, we're 250,000 worse. 200,000 of that is for deferred maintenance projects. So it's still projecting through the end of the year, and we don't necessarily look at it by quarters because we do spend a lot more in the last quarter than we do in the first 2 quarters.
Any further questions? And I especially want to encourage those who haven't had a chance to speak to be able to speak now.
I'd like to offer a motion.
Excellent. Steve, go ahead.
Well, I move that we, well, I don't see the red, sorry, I'm a little underprepared. Resolution XXS. I am not, well, I want to move to approve option 3, but I don't believe I have the correct information in front of me in order to word that properly. So give me a moment. Unless somebody else wants to jump in, that's fine too.
Yeah, well,
I can do that for you if you want. I have it.
Thank you, Julie.
So the motion, I move that the Lane Community College Board of Education authorize the college president to implement reductions in staffing and expenditure totaling $400,000 in ongoing general fund savings consistent with the board-approved financial mitigation framework and compliance with applicable law, board policy, and collective bargaining agreements.
Is there a second?
Well, I'd like to second that.
Okay. We now will move to discussion. Julie, you made the motion, and Steve, I'll give you an opportunity to speak to the motion too. But Julie, did you want to speak to the motion?
I think Steve's got it. I asked the questions that I have, and I think I'm going to defer to him.
Excellent. Steve, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
I don't think, yeah, no, I don't think I have anything additional to say. We've had a discussion. I think it's clear enough to everybody why I moved why Julie made the motion.
Excellent. Kevin, did you want to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Anyone else in regards to speaking to the motion? Jerry?
Yeah, I'm going to vote no. I would prefer 2. I'd even go with 4 before I go with 3.
Any further comments, questions? I'll speak to this. First off, thank you for the work that you've done in providing these different choices and options for the board. It is very important for the board to have choices and options when we're considering these important matters. Thank you very much. I personally still would have loved to have these options go through the Budget Subdevelopment Committee purely on the basis that it allows for different aspects of our community to be a part of conversations around assumptions. One of the stakeholders that would be a part of that conversation is students. Additionally, from the public comments, what I heard was in regards to cuts and tuition. I unfortunately am assuming that there is going to be that tuition will more than likely have to be raised due to the restraints that we have. And one of the really moving comment from one of the students was that you can't expect me to pay more and receive less. And that comment really moved me, as well as comments like to take care of the little guy. So on behalf of what I heard from students, it was really moving to me, and that is the reason for my no vote. Any further comments? Oh, Jerry.
Well, is it possible if we wait another month, we're going to find out something from the legislature? We could process this through that subcommittee, and maybe a few of our crystal ball things will come clearer before we go in and do another $250,000 worth of cuts. That's why I wouldn't mind seeing 4. Deferring for a month.
A comment I would add is that even if the state, when the state legislature finishes, the best case scenario we have is to keep the funding we have today. The picture may only get worse. So if we have no action today to move forward and start decreasing what we're expending on those areas, the picture may just get worse with what the state has. So I would say it's not going to get better than what it is today.
I saw several hands up, but I saw them go down. So I see Zach's hand up, but for those who raised them and put them down, feel free to jump in as well. Zach?
Yeah. Thanks first for this work, and thank you everyone for the conversation. A couple thoughts. So the first is that I do think that some mitigation is necessary. We began this year with a little over $8 million fund ending balance. The mitigation plan we adopted just a few weeks ago said that we were going to end the year with $7.5 million. Now we're seeing that we're going to end the year with $7.2 million. I would like to ensure that we get back at least to that $7.5 million number and not drop further than that $500,000 already. So I do think we need some mitigation amount. One question I have is it always gives me some concern to, approve TBD cuts. And I would wonder if any other board members would be interested in, seeing the list of potential cuts. One issue with that, of course, is the short timelines. It's only, a month or so, I guess it's end of March is when the next term starts. So any cuts that would be implemented before then, there's only one more board meeting between now and then. But I do wonder if others would be interested in, having a list of what a $400,000 in cuts might look like before we formally approve them. Would be something I would be interested in if possible.
Okay. I saw Kevin's, we'll do Kevin and then Julie. Kevin?
A comment of Zach's comment. I think that gets the board into operations, and we've had long discussions about why we shouldn't do that. So I would not be supportive of that. Second question is putting this back in front of the budget development subcommittee, is that normal? Has that been done before for this type of situation?
Well, having been in higher ed only 2 years, I've not been through that process, but since I've been at Lane, we haven't, even last year, we made $1 million of reductions. In the current year, it didn't go through budget development subcommittee, but before that, I can't speak to that. What I can say is we certainly want to keep the group involved and engaged and informed, but it would be also nice to keep that group moving towards the next fiscal year too. So we'll keep them apprised, absolutely. But I don't know beyond that what the history has been of Lane when they made in-year cuts either.
Thank you.
All right, we have 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Julie?
I just want to, it's impossible decisions. We are about to, but we are embarking on the journey of difficult choices, no good choices. There are always going to be mitigation choices for funding. I mean, we have a $3.5 million budget deficits in the mitigation plan we know facing. We're having to cut these. We know what next year possibly is going to look like. I mean, so it's just, it's a little bit, it's just what we're going to face. So I don't want to kick this down the road any further at all, which is why I think I'm in favor of option 3. I also know we have to do the deferred maintenance. I mean, we just heard all the stuff about the Longhouse and all that stuff. That stuff has to get paid. So it's like some of the deferred maintenance stuff has to be done. So we have to do that. So those are the reasons why we have a general fund, is to be able to, pay things like this while we also start to move. But we have to do something. And I think that giving the authority to the administration to move forward with identifying cuts where it has the least impact is the best way we can go at the moment. So that's why I'm supporting it.
All right. We're almost at time. If it's okay with the board, without objection, adding 5 minutes to the clock on this conversation, I want to make sure that there's plenty of questions are answered, especially those who haven't had a chance to speak. All right.
Got a hand up, Jesse Maldonado.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I'm asking for the 5 minutes. Just wanted to make sure. All right, add 5 minutes. Jesse, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. This is a tough one. My heart is telling me one thing. I heard what students mentioned today. That comment that you also referenced, Austin, was something that was very, I took note on that one as well. That was, I think, very eloquently put. My head is also saying this is very clear that we have to take care of these issues. So I'll be honest with you, it's going to be a game time decision for me on where I go here. One of the questions I did have that I kept putting my hand down because I couldn't figure out what my next question was. One of the things I saw on the previous slide that I see none of the slides are up anymore, but looking at in the packet here, in the warnings section, it says winter and spring enrollment slowdown. What are we actually seeing in that slowdown? And do we have projections on what that looks like moving forward? Do we have hard and fast data on that?
So we're still evaluating winter term, but at the last report we got from institutional research is that we were up only 0.5%. If you put them together, our guess is that we're less than 2.5, but slightly above 2% credit enrollment growth. So that drives the tuition dollars.
Chair, can I ask a follow-up to that? Or, sorry, President.
Yeah, just to put that into some more context, the percentage that was placed into the FY26 budget was
2%.
2%. So we've learned a few things about this. One certainly is to make sure that we are above 2%, and we are above 2%. Isn't that right, in enrollment? I'm looking at Keith. And so we are above 2% in enrollment. We have one more quarter, and then we're working as diligently as possible, but certainly hoping that the overall enrollment increase for this year would be 2%, which is what's in the budget.
And if I can add one more comment, we are seeing that our counterpart colleges are all down in the winter term. Some are substantially more than us. There's 2 or 3 that are seeing a rise in that. So it's kind of on par with what's happening at the other community colleges. So it's certainly something we're going to continue to look at, that it isn't as high as we were in the fall term.
All right, Jesse, was there a follow-up question?
Yeah, I guess, and I appreciate that, President Bolger. And Kara, thank you. And Jonathan, thank you. I missed my thank yous on my first at the beginning. So since 2% is already budgeted, do you anticipate there being another need to come back for another conversation like this again because enrollment is down and we're not seeing more revenue? Like, is that a potential that we're back in the same spot again because revenue or enrollment is ticking down because we haven't put it all together yet? Or do we feel confident that we're kind of on a trajectory to not be back here again for this conversation?
I mean, every time I find myself saying, no, we're comfortable with where we're at, I have to come back and say no. So I'll say we continue to monitor that every term and what we are doing. And you all have heard, we had schedule changes that we've made. So we continue to monitor the schedule to see, where the high wait lists are. And we are continuing to add courses as those come up with the work of academic affairs, but each course we add at this point is overspending that budget. So we have to make sure as we continue to add courses, our enrollment is on par with that. So we will continue to monitor to get to 2%. All things are showing we should be able to meet 2% by the end of the year. So I'm going to be hopeful in that term.
I'll add to that, having done this for a while, forecasting is all about trajectory and momentum. So when you're looking at the signals in a forecast and you're looking at all the details, you're trying to deflect momentum. You're trying to signal to your budget and your finances that, hey, we need to slow down spending in one area. Let's support growth in another. So it's granular, but in the aggregate, you are seeing momentum. So I won't say that we will or we won't, but we're we're doing our best to signal now that our momentum is that we're continuing to overspend more than we started with back in the Q1 forecast.
I also want to mention that we are very well aware that hope is not a strategy, and we are working on the strategy because the finance picture is one side of that house, one side of that picture, but the other side is what are we doing strategically in order to get the word out about what we offer here at Lane in a targeted fashion, and so we're working on that too.
All right, we have two hands up. I would also like to make a last call for those who haven't had a chance to speak. Is there any objection to adding 5 more minutes to this discussion to make sure that all questions are answered and so forth? Seeing no objection, add 5 minutes to the clock. Steve, you were first, and then Zach.
Yeah, it's a comment really. Respectfully submitted to those fellow board members who are, not, who are considering voting no. I would just ask you to consider that if we don't take some action now, option 3 is sort of the split the baby option. If we don't take some action now, we are, setting ourselves up for even more drastic action down the road. And we already are going to we already know, right? Just based on the 3-year budget, there's plenty of those decisions to be made. So putting ourselves in a situation where it's just that much more painful next year is a thing I think we could all, I hope, agree on that we would like to avoid. So for that reason, I'd just like to ask you all, those of you who are thinking otherwise, to reconsider option 3, spreads some of the pain out a bit.
Zach?
Yeah, if we approve one of these options tonight, what is the timeline and process to decide on which cuts are going to be implemented and then to inform and keep the board apprised of what that's going to look like?
We'll continue to report back to the board. Again, we'll have more reports in March. We'll be bringing back our full mitigation plan, and we'll keep monitoring this because what we need to do is go back and figure out the areas that are spending and stop that overspending in those areas, in the strategic areas that we can monitor. So we'll make sure we're reporting back.
All right. I do have a comment and a question, but I just want to make sure, President Hampton, would you have any questions or any comments?
Hold on. I apologize. I'm not as prepared this time around. Yeah, looking at all of the options, I'd have to say 3 is the best one. Not putting anything into action means you're going to have to make more reactionary cuts later, and I was scheduled to speak at the legislative session last night about the state budget. I didn't get the chance to, unfortunately, but I heard people's testimonies, and it's a potential that we could have less state funding, and that's a scary thing, and I don't want our college to not be prepared for that. So having at least something, half of the burden covered right now immediately, I think that's going to set us up for success, because if we are suddenly hit with something, that's going to really affect students and everyone greatly at this college.
All right. If we could scroll up to the warnings one more time. Students didn't necessarily comment on this this time, but they did comment on last time in regards to course cuts and courses that were no longer available, courses they were depending on and so forth, and how they were impacting them taking those classes, and obviously enrollment and their enrollment planning for the upcoming quarters. Can you explain a little bit how that impacts winter, spring enrollment slowdowns? Is that essentially included in the assumptions, or is that an uncontrolled variable in the assumptions?
So let me recap your question, make sure it's right. So you're wondering if will we have more course changes, or whether or not we've projected what those course changes are in our budget, in our forecast
Yeah,
Already.
that second part there, yeah, exactly.
Yes, we have. They're all included in the forecast. The thing that I'm saying is that if we find there's a high need area that we need to add more sections, that will continue to eat up more budget funds. So we will have to account for those because we anticipate there probably will be some of that. But our intent, there's not any more courses we're planning on reducing at this point. That wouldn't be strategic right now.
Gotcha. So once again, further course cuts would not be a strategic action for our institution for those enrollment purposes.
And I say that, they're still monitoring each course, because there may be an area, I'm saying that globally, but there might be an area where there's a section that has 5 students, and I'm being really dramatic, and it may not make sense to have that. So there are some strategic things that could be there, but the review that we did to stay within the budget, that's already been implemented. There's not a global review, but there might be one-offs that they're certainly have done year to year and term to term that they do in academic affairs.
Gotcha, thank you. I'll refrain from my comment because we're out of time. Board, if we want to move forward with an action. All right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Clarification.
Oh, yeah.
Roll call, please.
A roll call vote? Yes.
We're voting on option 3.
Oh, my apologies, yeah. Let's go, just to make sure everyone is on the same page, could we go ahead and read the motion as stated?
I missed the last 3 words of that. If Julie could I know she had it up. Thank you, Julie.
All right, option 3. I move that the Lane Community College Board of Education authorize the college president to implement reductions in staffing and expenditures totaling $400,000 in ongoing general fund savings consistent with the board-approved financial mitigation framework and in compliance with the applicable law, board policy, and collective bargaining agreements.
All right, we now have the motion before us. Discussion has ended, Jerry.
I'd like to move to amend the motion.
So we have a motion to amend the motion before us. Is there a second?
Well, I haven't made the motion yet.
Oh, my apologies. My apologies. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I move to amend this motion by stating that the administration would bring back a list of the cuts that are proposed.
The motion as stated.
Parliamentary question, Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Mr. Parliamentarian, could you comment on this process for us, please?
I believe we were in the middle of a vote, and there was a question asked about what we were voting on. If you want to amend at this point, you never completed the vote. I think there should be either sort of unanimous consent to do so, or we should complete the vote, move to reconsider it, and if it's moved to reconsider it, then unfortunately, I mean, it's a longer process, then in the reconsideration process, add the amendment or propose the amendment.
Question from Board Member Rust.
Why wouldn't a motion to amend the main motion be in order if it got a second?
Currently, the debate was closed no one objected to the debate being closed, and a vote was in process.
Okay.
So that's why we're in this situation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. As stated, debate is over. We got clarification on the language. The language has been motioned and seconded. We are now going to move to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, sorry. Go, Steve. Point of order.
I thought we were doing a roll call vote.
Oh, yeah. That's what we're doing next. Will we do a roll call vote, please?
Kevin Alltucker?
Yes.
Austin Fulnagi?
No.
Jesse Maldonado?
Yes.
Steve Mattal?
Yes.
Zach Mulholland?
Yes.
Jerry Rust?
No.
And Julie Weisman?
Yes.
All right. The motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for that discussion. As many of you said, it's a difficult conversation, and once again, I'm really glad that we had that. Zach, do you have a comment or question, or?
Could Jerry make his motion now as an additional motion if he wanted to?
If it's moved, to amend, so we would have to resend the motion, so anyway, I won't use a comparison of what we did in the past, but we would have to make a motion to rescind. That has to pass so that we can make an amendment to the motion, is my understanding. Parliamentarian, would you like to clarify? Yeah.
I believe just the terminology is, at this point, within the meeting, you make a motion to reconsider what just happened.
Gotcha.
And then if it's voted to reconsider the motion, if that passes, then during the reconsideration of that motion, an amendment is in order.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Zach? Oh, you want to clarify? Sorry, there was a statement offline here. I just want to bring it back into.
Someone who voted on, in order to move to reconsider, you must have voted on the prevailing side, which this time is you must have voted in the affirmative.
Okay, I for some reason I thought what Jerry was asking for could be just taken care of through an additional secondary process, and that I appear to be mistaken.
Okay. All right. I'm seeing no hands raised. We will now move on to discussion items. And the first discussion item is in regards to a letter to the LCC board, President Bulger, and the executive leadership. This was a letter sent to us by the Eugene Springfield delegation of legislators. Everyone has had a copy, had a chance to read it. Julie, I know you had some questions that you from the information request that you wanted to bring up here. I wanted to give you an opportunity to bring those up if as you requested.
I don't have to bring those up now. I don't let the conversation go because they might not be germane. I asked a series of questions. They're in the information request. I will speak to this, but I do not need to be the one. Your name is on this to bring it forward about this letter.
Understood.
We're the one who wanted to put on the agenda, so go ahead.
Understood. Yeah. So mainly what I just want to seek is guidance from the board in regards to what actions we would like to take in regards to this letter, to respond to this letter, and any guidance and suggestions. I'm here to take notes, to receive that information, and I would love to receive guidance from the board in regards to this. I see Zach, you have your hand up, and then I'll go to Kevin. Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, one thought and one question. So first, I would actually request that our chair and our potential support from our vice chair would go ahead and draft a response. I believe that our chair is our elected representative and our sole voice as a board. And I believe that if you were to take the initial crack at this, that would be appropriate in terms of any letter that might get drafted in response.
Okay.
And then I guess a question would be, are there going to be some opportunities to, is OCCA doing any lobby days during the short session regarding, potential cuts to the Community College Support Fund? What opportunities might there be for members of this board, for campus leadership, for other members of the campus community to, advocate for the need for the state to continue funding community college and to not cut funding for schools, mid-year or, mid-biennium? Thank you.
Understood. I'd love to ask President Bulger if one of the staff especially can speak to that. In regards to your comment in regards to creating a draft, obviously I would love to, that's what I was kind of asking for, was just a little bit of that feedback to hear from board members, what they would like to see in a response and so forth. That will certainly help me with drafting. President Bulger, who would be the best to speak in regards to the OCCA?
Yes, I'm going to get Brett to assist with this. We were talking yesterday, actually, right? Amelia wasn't able to to do that. But a lot of our advocacy has been ongoing this year and multiple times. But Brett, if you could give us some dates.
Sure, and just to put it in perspective, because it is a short session, things move quickly. Today's revenue forecast was really the final question mark that leadership was waiting on before they kind of start making final decisions on the budget. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't want to downplay lobbying and reaching out to our elected leaders, but I think a lot of the decisions are going to be made by this weekend. On some of those big items. The revenue forecast today was good news. It was up slightly, about an extra $300 million. But to put it in perspective, that's about the size of the hole that the state has just with the transportation package and the transportation tax that was repealed and all of those projects that they're trying to figure out how to continue to move forward on. At the same time, the governor spoke today in support of our Prosperity Roadmap, which is a $40 million investment. There's a $15 billion hole in federal Medicaid spending over the next 5 years that they have to, that they're trying to figure out how to address. So they're still telling us, even with the relatively good news today, that most parts of the state budget should still anticipate cuts. They're not going to be the severe worst case scenarios that we were looking at about 3 months ago when they told us it could be as high as 5%. But most entities have been told to prepare for at least something, maybe like a 1% reduction. Last night was pretty much the one and only opportunity for a public hearing for the public to give input on the reduction scenarios. It was a 3-hour hearing. It was like a lottery. If your name got called, you were a winner. There were 5 hearing rooms full of people. I would say more than 1,000 people in the Capitol hoping to get an opportunity to speak. Just as many people online. The stream kept crashing. So, it's definitely worth reaching out to our elected leaders and encouraging them to keep community colleges whole. OCCA, you did ask about lobby days. We do have CTE Day on Thursday, February 18th. But again, that is over the halfway point of a 35-day session. Usually we get a few months into the session before there are deadlines for bills to die if they haven't had a hearing in their committee. The first deadline for bills in this session is Monday. And so things are just moving super quickly, and I would expect that probably by next week, leadership is going to have some of these budget questions answered already. So I kind of gave you a half answer there. I'd never want to say don't reach out and advocate, and you are all welcome to come up on Thursday, February 18th for CTE Day. But I'm also trying to be realistic that some of those decisions that we're hoping for good decisions will be made by that point of the session.
Thanks, Brad. I think we can coordinate too. If the board members would like to go with us on February 18th, we can certainly coordinate that with the board.
Yeah. Zach, I'm not trying to put necessarily words in your mouth, but I also heard a little bit of what you were advocating for was, hey, keep the college budget whole. Is that something that potentially you would like to see in a draft letter? Zach, go ahead.
That could fit in terms of, there's a critical need to protect and, enhance, invest in community college funding as, one of the 3 legs of our, financial stool here. I think the basic most important thing is simply that the board and its representatives continue to negotiate in good faith. And that's, I think, the extent of the comments that we really need to make.
Got it. Understood. Thank you. Kevin?
Thank you. I would add some thoughts to what Zach suggested. In the salutation line, there are 3 parties: President Bolger, the Board of Education, and the LCC executive leadership. So any drafting should not just be from the board.
Understood.
So those 3 parties should participate in creating a response. I do think there should be a response. I acknowledge and appreciate the legislators' concern for LCC, its employees, its students, and I recognize their interest in the parties coming to a timely and stable resolution to the collective bargaining process, and I do think our response needs to center on that. I agree with Zach on that. In my mind, the letter is polite, it's well-intentioned, it's politically understandable. And that said, I have 4 concerns that I want to point out. The letter is clearly informed primarily by the faculty union perspective, and which is fine. But I'm wondering why the legislators chose not to acknowledge that. The letter applies pressure asymmetrically. For example, only the college is encouraged to consider the economic realities facing its workforce, and there's no mention of the economic realities of the financial ecosystem that the college has to operate within. And finally, the 4th concern is I'm concerned that the letter creeps into a spot where it begins to undermine independent board fiduciary responsibilities for board governance. Now, that said, I think a response is, there should be a response. We need to acknowledge the letter respectfully. We should emphasize the good faith bargaining process. We should reaffirm the board's statutory role and bargaining independence. We should acknowledge the importance of Lane Community College in our community, and we should acknowledge and trust that all parties will continue their efforts towards an agreement.
Thank you. Got all that written down. Steve, Steve and then Jerry. Steve, go ahead.
Mostly, I'm just thankful for Kevin's comments and support them. I think he hit the nail on the head. Polite, but also clear in staking out our responsibilities and pointing out that the imbalance. I think he hit the nail on the head. I'd like to see that in the letter.
Understood. Thank you. Jerry.
Yeah, I think we should keep the letter short and polite, and the 2 keystones for me is we're engaged in good faith bargaining, and we are aiming for a fair contract. And that's where I think we don't need to have an institutional prerogative match here, even no matter how polite it is. Short, sweet, courteous, and with a fair contract and bargaining in good faith. That's where we're coming from.
All right, thank you. Any other feedback? Which, by the way, I'm definitely getting a clear direction to respond, and I've written down a lot of your comments in regards to this. Any further comments?
I have a question. Does the board have a timeline that it may like to work within?
Based off of what Brett said, I would like to get this drafted before this weekend, because it sounds like that's kind of the deadline that we're kind of looking at that would be most beneficial for a response.
Okay, thank you for that. If you'll just send it to me, and we can support this effort to draft the letter as well. But if you'll send that to me, what you're interested in, then we'll get you something tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I saw some head nods about that timeline. Was there? Okay, cool. Julie, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Julie, you're muted.
Sorry. I
No, it's
lowered
okay.
my hand and thought I muted at the same time.
Understood.
Kevin, you articulated that very well, and I support that 100% of what you said. My information request was a reminder that I found it surprising that we had legislators coming in to kind of tell the board this. It was shocking to me. So in my review, it was like, we've had members who are associated with some of those individuals who were on the board 5 years ago when the college was in another full contract in bargaining, and we're facing almost identical situations where the KLCC article about being so it was surprising to me, and I really would like us to figure out a way where we can say, I know you can appreciate the financial situation that we're in. You know, I know some of you have actually experienced it yourself, so it's a challenge. And I like what Kevin said, and that's the reason I just did my homework. That's the reason I put it in the information request, was to like, how do we even meet that request and facing all these uncertainties ourselves. So it was, I just want to explain that that's what that is to provide information for all of you, as well as anybody else who wanted to see it. But thank you, Kevin, for kind of bringing it in. And then my only final thing is, it absolutely has to be a collaboration. I don't agree that our chair and vice chair should be the one that drafts this letter. I think it needs to be drafted from a kind of the experts in the room on lobbying and communicating with legislators and things like that. So I think it really should be collaborative, and I'm confident you all can do that. So thank you.
Absolutely. I can guarantee that, yes, it will be a collaborative effort. And having been with OCCA in 2 leadership roles, I've had a lot of experience speaking with these legislators, lobbying with these legislators, and understand a lot of the different value systems they have. Obviously, there's not only leadership that's in this letter, but also 2 members of the Education Committee, Ways and Means, and so forth. So these are pretty significant committees that impact community colleges, and I know that they are also subject matters in higher education as well as budgets. And I think the value and the intention that I felt from this letter is that they care. They care, and they wanted to reach out to us. And I think that that was not only a noble thing to do amongst fellow elected representatives, and we should communicate clearly that the state is a part of a 3-legged stool that determines a lot of different factors, including whether or not we are needing to raise tuition and other financial matters that we deal with as a college. So yeah, I hope that our response will encourage even further and broader conversations about higher education and budgeting for higher education. Jerry, did you have something to say?
No.
Okay. All right.
I like the way you phrased it.
Thank you. Any further feedback, comments? Otherwise, we will move on to the next discussion item. Seeing no hands. Look at that. We did it in half the time. It's great, everyone. Board policy review, where we're going to review board policy 3450, 3720, 6600, 6715, and 6750, which that's very exhilarating about parking. So I'm really looking forward to that. President Bulger. What?
Yes, Brett, could you guide us through, is this the first read of these policies?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, good evening. I know this is your favorite part of the meeting, so here we go. We have 5 policies bringing to you this evening for a first reading. All 5 have minor revisions that are being proposed for your consideration. The first one, Board Policy 3450, advertising. We're basically updating the list of protected classes in the policy with the broader list that the board has previously approved in other policies. So this will just mirror that list that you've approved in the past. It also adds just language that it is the president's responsibility to carry out that policy. Board Policy 3720, computer and network use. We got feedback from the IT staff. This just basically modernizes the policy a little bit more, strengthens the language around security, and aligns it with some of the other college practices that are currently taking place. Board Policy 6600, capital construction. It basically removes a outdated title for vice president, and instead of having to change the language for the position each time, it basically charges the president or the president's designee to do the work outlined in this policy regarding capital construction. For Board Policy 6715, integrated pest management, similar to some of the past policies where we've removed the actual Oregon statute number from the policy, we'll put it in a legal reference field below the policy. So when there's changes that take place in Salem, it doesn't necessitate your need to change policy language every time that happens. And lastly, the chair's parking policy. Board policy.
How is this the chair's parking policy?
6750. We're just making one small change. The current policy, basically, it basically calls out instructional programming for the need to have parking, and this is just would change it to the college overall, because we have more use of our parking lots than just for our instructional programs.
Understood. Any questions about these changes before I go into my question about parking? So one of the uses of parking is for the motorcycle safety training program and so forth. Obviously, instructional program essentially, and I'm not sure if it's necessarily through the college. I think it's actually through. It's through essentially to get your motorcycle endorsement essentially. So I don't know. This change would not negatively impact that process.
No, this. Because that is an agreement with the college to take place.
Perfect. Thank
but
you.
for example, KLCC sometimes parks its RV on campus. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yes.
It's not necessarily an instructional program, but it is part of the college business.
Gotcha. Any questions? I have a second question, but I just want to make sure anyone else. One of the recommendations from the Budget Subdevelopment Committee in regards to alternative revenues was in regards to parking and potentially even charging for parking. This policy, would that, essentially, if we were to consider that, pursue that, or have discussions about that, is this policy relevant in those discussions or not necessarily? Does that question make sense?
It does. The policy currently and would continue to allow parking fees to be established if that's a decision in the future. The college has looked at this in the past, and in order to charge for parking, and people would put permits in their car, there is a cost associated with every day going around the parking lot and making sure all the cars have parking permits. And what we have found is sometimes the revenue that you make off the permits doesn't pay for enforcement of parking. And so, and it's also another fee added on top for students and employees that come to the college for parking. When the college adopted a transportation fee, it kind of did so with the thought that all students pay for that. For those taking the bus, it helps pay for the bus passes. For those bringing their vehicles to campus, it helps maintain some of the costs associated with maintaining the parking lots.
Absolutely. Does this policy, so for like major events, so for instance, if we have a pickleball court that is hosting the championship round of international pickleball or national pickleball and so forth, this policy would allow for that flexibility if for potentially charging for something like a short-term event, like something like that.
Just like we have a cost sheet to rent rooms on campus or spaces, there is a cost that if people want to reserve a parking lot, they're able to do that. And so
Thank you.
I would expect that it would follow that procedure.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. That answers all my questions about the wonderful topic of parking. Thank you. Any further questions about these board policies? All right. Pests and parking. That's the second reason why I wanted to be on this board. Academic affairs update. President Bolger.
So we have a series of updates, and we'll start with academic affairs. That will follow with human resources, and then we'll end with student affairs.
Good evening. Board members, President Bulger, and President Hampton, Chair Austin Fognaghi. I trust that you've read my report, and I will keep my comments short tonight. It is getting late. Early February is a very important time in academic affairs as we are gearing up and trying to get all of our curriculum in for the next catalog. And I'm pleased to say that we met our deadline of February 2nd, and everything is moving forward. So it's always kind of a tense time around this time of the year. With that said, we will be bringing some new programs forward to the board for consideration here, probably, I think we said March or April, so you'll be seeing that very soon. I also want to concentrate or just give you a short perspective of mine on what's going well in academic affairs, and this is something that's been very dear to my heart for the last couple of years, we were able to secure a $1 million gift, or nearly $1 million, I believe it was like $950,000 from the Lane Health Council a couple of years ago, and we intended to buy an Automage table with that money, and that's a table, it's an anatomy table, it's a state-of-the-art that you use in teaching students A&P in anatomy and physiology classes. And we've had a bit of a delay with that purchase because the science building is under construction. I'm absolutely delighted to report that that table is on its way. It's on a truck, and it's making its way to the campus. And that will be some new technology that will improve student learning and also faculty engagement within their discipline. It's really an exciting tool, and that is on a truck and currently making its way to Eugene. And we hope that we'll have that up and running in the spring term, and faculty will be able to use that new technology in their courses the next fall. And with that, again, I'm going to trust that you read the report, and if you have any questions, I'm here.
Excellent.
I think this is could be very fun for us to do a little bit of a field trip once that table comes, and so that you can see that.
I absolutely agree, and I have been told that no field trips until the end of the spring term because they have to get it set up through IT. So thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Our next report is, Steve, did you have a comment in regards to the last report?
Just very quickly, I was reading the report. Shelley, just wanted to thank you and members of your team and congratulate you really for this SNAP outreach grant or contract that you got some funding for. That's great, right? So that allows your staff, folks there at LCC, to do that much more outreach and sign eligible students up for SNAP. But I'm just calling in my appreciation. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, and yes, a huge shout out to Career Pathways in doing that work. Thanks for the recognition.
Thank you. All right. If no further questions, I think we're ready for our next report.
Good evening. I'd like to start today's report with some good news. Today we reached a tentative agreement with LCCEF in the reopener bargaining. Want to extend my thanks to the bargaining team from LCCEF being great partners at the table. I think we've come up with a fair agreement that honors their work and also maintains our solvency. So I really appreciate that. I want to take some time and recognize the work of some of the staff in my office that work behind the scenes, doing things that you don't hear about, but it's really important to what the college is. So one of the things that you may have heard about in Trump's big, beautiful bill was that there would be no taxes on overtime. And so we do have classified employees who earn overtime, and there's a difference between how the college pays overtime and what the federal law is for overtime. Our contract is actually a little more generous. And so what that means is that computer systems aren't programmed to calculate that correctly. And so Cheryl Volker in my office spent the first 2 weeks of January doing a manual review of every single paycheck of every person who earned overtime on this campus to make adjustments to their W-2 so that it would be correct when they filed their taxes, that they wouldn't be penalized. And so I just want to give her a shout out. This past week, we lost a long-term employee in information technology, Dennis Mills, who had worked for us for 47 years. His wife, working for us for 22 years before she retired a couple of years ago, means that they had combined service that was longer than Lane Community College has been open. We mourn the loss of Dennis, who touched every classroom and every space that has computer or audiovisual technology in this campus, and so you've seen his fingerprints over everything. I want to recognize the work of Don Barth and Heidi Morales, who met with the IT staff to deliver that news to them personally so that they wouldn't be receiving it through email. They work behind the scenes as employees leave the college, even if they're passing away. A couple of months ago, we lost another employee who had a very long illness, and she was working very hard to come back to campus and work. And the efforts that Dawn and Heidi put into trying to make that happen for her so that she could come back involved identifying an office that was close to ADA parking, packing up her old office and moving all of her materials to her new office, obtaining a medical alert device so that if she fell and needed assistance, that could be coordinated with public safety so that she could be kept safe. When things began to deteriorate, those two staff people worked with her family members on transition of life and benefits. And there's so much care and love that goes into that work, and I just want to recognize Dawn and Heidi for the care that they give to our employees. That ends my report.
Greatly appreciate that. Kevin?
Yeah, thanks, VP Turner. And again, thanks to all the bargaining teams, both the classified and the administrative teams. I know that's a lot of work, and congratulations on the TA. And I appreciate the shout out to your team too.
Absolutely. I think that speaks for the whole board, to be honest, so about the bargaining. Oh, we do have one question from President Hampton.
No, not a question, but I'm incredibly I regret to hear that Dennis passed away. I met him briefly. He seemed like an incredible man, and I'm so sorry for the college's loss and for his wife's loss.
Thank you for that.
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, Board of Education, President Bolger, President Hampton. Anyway, I will keep it a little brief too. I know this is the end of the evening, and I'm not as tall as Shane. So anyway, this is the Student Affairs Report. We had some really amazing things happen on our campus in this last couple of weeks. First of all, I want to mention internationally renowned vocalist Liz Wright visited Lane last week. She headlined our annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. commemoration event. And so on January the 27th, she offered a masterclass for free of our music students who were personally coached on their vocal solos. And then on 28th, Miss Wright and Kenny Banks Sr. dazzled the audience of students, staff, and community members in Ragazzino Hall. It was a packed event. All the events were generously sponsored by the Lane Foundation and Student Government Association, and were well attended, and they were well received. We also received, in lieu of a fee for attending, we asked people to donate food items for our Lane Food Pantry. We received 170 pounds of food and personal item donations. I'd really like to thank the classified staff, the students, the managers, and the faculty who were involved in this event. It took a real large team to make it happen. And thanks to President Bolger as well for inspiring the event from the onset. And we have a couple of events coming up. I want to highlight one of them. Dr. Jarvis Givens, he's a Harvard professor. He's going to be visiting Lane on February the 18th for Black History Month. And in this urgent and eye-opening talk, Professor Givens reframes the history of U.S. education through the intertwined experiences of Black, Native, and white communities and their experiences in public schools. All are welcomed and encouraged to participate in the scheduled event. This is also sponsored by the LCC Foundation. So please check the Student Affairs Board report. There's a lot more information on it there. A couple of other bits of bright news. The Lane Child and Family Center welcomed more than 70 new families into the program, all of whom are LCC students. So student parents bringing their kids here to Lane Community College. And this growth reflects both the need for high-quality, accessible childcare on campus and the trust our student families place in this program. Another bright spot too, Nick Monroe, our assistive technology specialist in the Center for Accessible Resources, co-presented at the Student Success Council along with Kyle Schmidt back here and Claire Gramont to share information on the new rules and best practices for digital accessibility, which has been basically it's a federal mandate, and it's a good thing that we're doing here. They're doing a lot of work on it, and they're leading it, Lane. Last thing, METCHA, we had representatives of this student group here tonight. They spoke in public comment. They're working with other multicultural student organizations to make the MCC space more reflective of the plurality, that's a word I always struggle with, plurality of cultures and ancestries within Lane student body. And that really reflects kind of the changes intersectionality and how many of our students are also biracial and come from different heritages and backgrounds. So they're doing some wonderful things. NASA, I've been meeting with NASA over the last few weeks too. With Avery Olcoyote resigning, we have a new, we have 2 co-advisors who are Native Americans within our community, Frank Merrill and Fish Martinez, and Carl Ye is also representing on behalf of Lane Community College. So I think we've got some great things happening. I also met with facilities today and our Longhouse steward to talk about some of the improvements that we're going to be working on in the Longhouse. All right.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Steve.
Just very briefly, I do know it's late. Just to follow on about the event last weekend with Liz Wright and her pianist Kenny. I had the fortune of attending with my wife. It was a great event. So thanks to all that put it on. Lots of great things I think have been said about it already. So I won't repeat that, except to say there were so many members of the administration there supporting the event to make it a success, right? So Colin was handing out flyers at the end of the night for the event that he just mentioned. I saw Jenna there, ushering people in. Nicole was taking tickets. There were probably lots of others. Those are just the folks that I happened to run into. And it is such a nice, signal about the kind of place that it is. There are so many institutions where you would not find the senior most administration helping out with ushering duties on a Wednesday night, but that's the kind of place that LCC is. And it's just a really nice touch and a great place to be. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? President Hampton.
I unfortunately was not able to go to the Liz Wright concert, but I appreciate the SGA shout out. I know a lot of members of SGA helped to volunteer and support that event. I'm particularly happy with the Lane Child and Family Center news. I'm work study there, and seeing the place and hearing about it are 2 drastically different things. You really have to see the place. But as someone who has seen both, hearing this good news really affects me, so thank you.
That might be another tour after the Anatomage table.
I agree.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. With the reports completed, or the discussion items completed, rather, we are now moving on to information reports. Does any board members have any discussions of those reports? I also have one, and Vice President, Dr. Bulger, if Vice President Joyce for mine, but I'll start with Kevin.
Thank you. I have a question for VP Flath.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hi, thank you. You described the meeting that occurred with the Oregon Department of Revenue with various folks. Could you elaborate on who was there? What was kind of the conclusion of that meeting?
Sure, and then I'm hoping I don't forget anybody, but it was myself, Jonathan Campbell, Brett Rowlett was there as our external relations person, Jenna McCauley, the faculty union president, Jerry Minahan was there. They had their attorney present. We had an attorney present. I don't remember if they had anyone else from the faculty union representative. I remember the two there. Essentially, the conversation was whether or not the 3-year mitigation plan was a violation of Oregon budget law. What Oregon Department of Revenue reaffirmed is that it's a financial plan. It didn't discuss an adopted budget, so it doesn't violate Oregon budget law. There was some concern from, not to speak for the faculty union, they can speak for themselves, but that the 3-year mitigation plan was more of a budget than it was a plan, and it's been presented as a plan was our stance, and they didn't have any concern with it from Oregon Department of Revenue that it wasn't a violation of Oregon budget law. I believe the faculty union was still uncomfortable with and wanted more expertise on that, and they asked Oregon Department of Revenue who else could they ask, and I think they said Oregon Department of Education would be a place to ask, but as far as Oregon budget law itself goes, there wasn't a violation because it's not an adopted budget that we're discussing.
Thank you.
Julie, go ahead. But in regards to reports?
Yeah, unless anybody else has something for VP Flath. No? Okay. Mine is about, it's not really a question. I just wanted to do a shout out to the College Council. I read their short little report, but also just recognizing the invitation for all of us as a Board of Education to actually observe their upcoming meeting on February 11th. And I really thank them for including the link inside of their report. So I thank you. And if I can make it, I would love to watch your meeting, and please invite us again in case I can't, so that I know when it is. And thank you for that report. I really appreciate it.
And President Bulger, I believe we also post that on YouTube as well, is my understanding as well?
On YouTube?
Yeah.
Not certain about that,
Yeah,
but
so like you could watch the meeting in post essentially, as opposed.
we'll get back to you on that.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you.
But really appreciate that, and we'll certainly, I'll certainly share the compliment to the co-chairs, Maggie Wright and Amanda Blunt. So really appreciate that.
President Bulger, I have some questions in regards to Information Report J, Student Affairs.
Oh, yes. Colin? Yeah.
While you're approaching, first off, thank you. I really enjoy your reports because of several different factors. One is that you speak about events, but even potential issues, but then you bring it back to the students with each and every aspects of your report, and I immensely appreciate that. My questions are in regards to page 4, and in particularly with the paragraph about NASA and other situations with that. First off, I really appreciate the comment, the last 2 sentences here, which is I'm in full support of the students selecting co-advisors for their trusted communities.
Yes.
Powerful statement and absolutely what we need to do. The last sentence, so thank you for stating that. And then the college is committed to unwavering support for our Native students. And I wanted to ask in regards to support for the powwow that is coming up in April.
Yes.
Can you speak to what we are currently doing for support, planned support? Obviously, it's a big event.
Yes.
And so forth. If you could speak to that, especially with it coming up in April.
Yes, NASA have held several meetings in the past few weeks with the faculty coordinator resigning, and the faculty coordinator and the Longhouse steward together work on this event, but also with support from Student Affairs throughout, and facilities, AV, all sorts of groups. We have had gaps without the either Longhouse steward or faculty coordinator in the past. And so we've, like Dean Carlier has worked on the powwow and being a primary figure in that in the past. So we're working to continue the work on that. The NASA students were wondering about maybe postpone, cancel, or continue with the powwow, but as of now, in the last meeting, they're looking to move ahead with it, and we are going to give all of our support to make it happen. I think, like as board member Mittal mentioned earlier, we get involved, at the highest level in making something work. So we're committed to that.
Absolutely.
I would add, we have 2 community cultural events a year, and one is the powwow. It happens in April of every year. And the second is the MLK Day celebration. And so these are events where we want the community to come and join us in those celebrations. Generally at the powwow, we attract, 1,000 people in the day. And so it's an absolutely wonderful event. I was able to go last year because I didn't have a national conference conflict. And it's absolutely amazing. So
It is.
we're committed to doing that.
I've attended since I came here each time, and I've got to say, I've been to a number of powwows. I brought my daughters up going to powwows because I felt they live in this country, they should understand. And I will say that the powwow we put on here, NASA and LCC, is powerful. It's a huge powwow, and it's one of the biggest in the region by far. And a lot of our Native community members also rely on it. We have vendors and community members in regalia who show up each year, and veterans, and so it really is putting LCC at the forefront of like, without, when we've got our land acknowledgement, if we don't have a powwow and things like that, it is performative, so we need to be.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed, yeah. In regards, on the same topic of support, I know that it was pretty intensive to allow for space for those that are neurodivergent and elders to have a space and to have resources and so forth available to them. Is that continued support? And again, I know that was pretty labor intensive too, to do that, but does that support also in that area too?
Very much so, yes.
Fantastic, great.
Yeah.
And I just simply want to invite the board to come to the powwow. It's an incredible event. And having grown up on the Coeur d'Alene Indian Reservation, the dynamics of a powwow allow for the community to come together. And the fact that our community college is a part of that community is critical. Our continued support and whatever they need to do this powwow, I am in full support. And if there's any things that the board needs to do in regards to that, please let us know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Steve.
I just want to make sure, are we in item 7A right now?
We are, so we are in reports. No, sorry. We are in reports. And I just asked questions in regards to student affairs reports, which was questions in regards to the last 2 sentences on page 4. And I got the answers that I needed to hear. So, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Is there any other questions of any of the other reports? Otherwise, we will move on to 7A. Steve, did you have a comment to get us started?
Yeah, I do. So it's a question for you, I think, Austin, perhaps a clarification. I was under the impression, had the expectation that you would be reading a statement sort of
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So
I haven't finished saying what I was saying.
I think I know what you're about to say, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was under the impression that you were going to read a statement to clarify, some of the recent process issues that we had with regard to executive sessions. I feel, so I'm just curious why that was omitted, or if it was forgotten, or when that was expected to happen.
Now. Yeah, so now, it wasn't forgotten or omitted or anything like that. I tried to see where would be the best place to put in the agenda, and this was the best spot. If you'd like, I can go ahead and do that now.
Please do.
Of course. All right. So the board participated in a training on public meeting law compliance in December. During this training, the OJEC recommended best practices in posting notices for meetings that had some board members in attendance, and where those board members could act in an advisory capacity to the entire board. The board subsequently been posting such notices. Additionally, the board also realized that the executive session on January 21st was posted with the incorrect exemption. The board actually met in executive session under subsequent 2H for consultation with legal counsel. We do apologize for the typo. So, I do have some other comments and questions, but I also want to make sure if there's any other comments that the board would like to say. Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. This, again, is kind of my aspirational nudge for the board to look to the future. So I'm going to reference my favorite book, The Great Upheaval, so bear with me, and this is short. So one of the important takeaways from the book, The Great Upheaval, in which authors Levine and Van Pelt make the case that higher education is going through the greatest period of change it has ever experienced, and that we're never going back to a prior normal period. That's the greatest takeaway of the book. So there's enrollment patterns that are shaped by falling birth rates and resulting in smaller cohorts of traditionally aged students, funding models that change without notice, along with the changing needs of students, are really shaping the future of higher education. So I believe in the midst of all these changes, there's golden opportunities for this board to explore with the president as we focus on student success and the strong future for Lane Community College. To thrive in this changing environment will require a premium on thoughtful governance, fiscal sustainability, and strategic alignment with students and employers. The strategies that served this college well in the past must evolve to meet today's realities and tomorrow's demands. So I look forward to this board working with the president to make Lane Community College even better than it is now.
Thank you. Jerry.
For the good of the order?
Yes, board comments and questions. Yeah.
I appreciate those comments from Kevin. I'm kind of stuck in the old world, and what I'm interested in is elevating our discourse, and I'd like to regretfully turn our attention back to last month when, during the Human Resources report, one of our faculty was singled out, named many times, with no notice, no warning, no chance for a rebuttal. Now, we've talked about fairness, a fair contract for the president, but this level of fairness is something we can demonstrate every day. Let's break the chain of disrespect and unfairness and go forward into that bright future that you envision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further board comments or questions? I know it's late, and I definitely want to hear from the ad hoc committee, so I'll just reserve my additional comments for now. President Hampton.
Yes, I would just like to kind of throw this out there for, I guess, general knowledge and kind of a checkup on this. I sent last month an information request about Sophie, or sorry, I don't mean to name names. The previous president had wanted to put in place some more, I guess, guidelines and support for the incoming student body presidents. I didn't see anything in the information requests for this meeting. I was just wondering if that was going to come up in a next meeting, and I'll add a follow-up email as well to that. I was just curious if there's any information on that.
Yeah. Yes, there is information on that. We actually talked about that yesterday. And so we have an onboarding plan that we can share with you and I know that this is very important because you've got an earlier transition period, I think, this year. So, yes, we've got that.
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. Julie?
Just following up on that, I recall that one of the things that past President Gibson had submitted was a proposed policy, board policy for the student trustee. I remember seeing it. I remember her submitting it, and then I have never seen it again. And I'm just kind of curious if we know what happened to it and if it's possible to bring it back up or how we would review that.
I think what we did is, Becca, if you could help me remember, but I think what we did is that we talked together about that and we put that into a memorandum of understanding as opposed to a board policy. And the memorandum of understanding is between the SGA and then the president's office, I believe, well, the cabinet as well. And so the cabinet has seen that, and of course I did and signed it, and we are on our way with that. The terms of that, we can certainly bring that back, so if the board would like to know what's in that. And so we can certainly bring that so that the board can have a sense of what's in that.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any further board comments or questions before we move on to the ad hoc committee public comment update? Just wanted to ask if there was any further update on that. Obviously, we see the link to the video, the notes and so forth. Was there any additional comment you'd like to provide?
There's no additional comment. I do have some kind of general overview comments. It'll be very short.
Of course.
That might summarize the meeting minutes. Thank you, Nicole, for producing those.
I appreciate it.
So
Thank you.
just for the board to know and for the public to know, for the administration to know, the subcommittee on public comment met in public session on January 27th. The committee members are myself, Trustee Russ, and Trustee Maldonado. The committee elected me as chair. There was, what I want to report is that there's really a strong agreement from the committee members about what the charge of the committee should be. So there was a strong agreement, consensus that, hey, we don't want to limit or restrict public speech per se, but we want to provide some guide rails and guidelines so that our meetings don't run late till 11 or 11:30. I mean, that was basic improvement. We agreed to, we assigned ourselves some homework. We're going to look at what the other community colleges do in Oregon. We're going to look at other elected bodies in our area, including Lane County Board of Commissioners, Eugene City Council. We're going to look at League of Oregon Cities. We're going to look at Oregon School Board Association, and we're going to get back together. Nicole is wrangling a date as we speak. And so I'm really optimistic about the good work that this committee is embarking on. It's a good trajectory. And I'm grateful for Trustee Russ and Trustee Maldonado to participate. That's the report.
Excellent. Zach has a question, and really quick, I just wanted to make sure you got all the support, staff support, everything that you need in that regard.
We certainly do.
Excellent, good. Zach. Oh, Zach, you're muted, sorry.
First, thank you all for taking the time to form the subcommittee and meet. It's important work. In terms of process, I thought there was going to be a reach out to other board members for us to sort of submit thoughts and ideas as you began this process. I did not see that request come in. So I didn't know the meeting was happening until I saw the video. So anyways, I guess a couple points. Number one is we did discuss this for quite a while last spring. We did change our policy at that time. One of the things that we implemented is that when we have more than 20 speakers, we reduced the time down to 2 minutes per speaker. We had discussed that if we had more than 30 speakers, we might reduce it down to 90 seconds. We ended up not adopting that at that time, but that is one option I think that the subcommittee should consider is further reducing that time down to 90 seconds if we get to 30 or more speakers. And I think one other thing that you might want to look at is how to handle complaints around, frankly, college leadership, the president, administration, et cetera, just to figure out what the guardrails, if any, should be, how those should be routed to the board in a way that they can be managed respectfully, professionally, responsibly for the good of the institution, and that no one is being, anyways, just to have a thought process with regards to how should those things work in a properly functioning body. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent. Kevin, and if any of the other committee members like to pitch in as well, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to respond to Zach. Thanks for that reminder about asking other board members. We overlooked that. And so I appreciate that. We'll add that to the agenda for the next meeting for sure.
I just asked that if each of you could go back and review, at least for the 2 board members that did not participate in those, if we could go back and find the meeting, and maybe if you could take the 30 minutes or whatever it was to watch that, it might be beneficial for you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Julie, and then I'll put myself in the queue. Go ahead, Julie.
Basically, I watched the video and I just want to applaud the 3 of you. It was refreshing to watch. I liked the dialogue. I think you guys are covering all the topics. I think you're covering them in a different way, a more mindful way than even the meeting that Zach is referring to, which was, if my recollection was uncomfortable because we didn't really know where we wanted to be. We had lots of ideas and stuff, but it's nice that you guys started it over, and I think you have all that in place. I'm very confident that the 3 of you really are asking the right questions, and I was very impressed, and I thank you for doing that work and taking time on our behalf to bring us back a recommendation. So I just wanted to do a shout out and thank you guys for that process.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. Just one, President Hampton, go ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, I would also like to be included on asking board members for the recommendations, because I have some thoughts. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
One thing I would just recommend for the ad hoc committee to also consider is our equity lens in regards to public comment. I've often asked myself, if someone was a monolingual speaking person other than English, how would they participate in public comment? If someone required a translator, do they get additional time for translation services? What are we doing around language justice? If an individual is neurodivergent and the various dynamics that are in play with public comment, are they able to participate in a manner that that would allow them to obviously participate in their right as citizens within, as people within our district wanting to speak to the board? How is how is written comments posted and so forth? I mean, so I just wanted to also emphasize an equity lens as these discussions are happening as well. I think that's really important and critical to democratic processes, which public comment is. And let us never forget that public comment is the people's time. It is board work, and it is very critical to not only the board, but to the institution. Thank you.
Good comment.
And appreciate the work, of course. Anything further? By the way, Jesse, Jerry, was there any additional comments you wanted to provide?
No.
None from me. Nope, Kevin covered it. Thank you.
Perfect, great. Future meeting dates. We have March 4th as our regular meeting. We also have a work session that is going to be in Florence. So just keep note of that. And we also have a regular meeting on March 31st. That is our April regular meeting. So just keep those things in mind. That March 31st is our April's regular meeting there. Other than that, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.